Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Carey Stadium on the campus of Germantown Academy, right on the outskirts of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, for our Game 2 of Week 1 here in the 2016 MLU season between the Boston Whitecaps and the Philadelphia Spinners. I'm Jeff Poster, once again joined by Dusty Rhodes. Both teams, Dusty coming off impressive wins last night. Philadelphia, a blowout win over the New York Rumble, and Boston really had to work to come back, but both teams very good. In a much better condition today here with the weather. It's sunny and windy, but better than the teams had to play in yesterday.
Yeah, there will be a little bit of wind in the game today. It's a little windier higher off the ground than it is actually down on the field, so some of those deep looks will hop up and down a little bit, be more affected. But overall, it's beautiful out here today. There's a lot of sun out for folks who are not up in the booth like us, so
Yes.
hopefully they'll be enjoying it out here. We can see the Philadelphia Spinners mascot is back in town this year. Happy to have him back. And looking forward to how this game plays out today.
So Boston coming over the 17-16 win last night over the DC Current. Philadelphia absolutely blowing out the Rumble 22-12. And as we just said, it's a beautiful day here at Carey Stadium. The sun is out. It is a bit chilly, though. In the sun, it's a lot better. You see right there, 39 degrees, a little bit of wind, 4 miles per hour, humidity 44%. And it says precipitation 20% chance, but we don't have a cloud in the sky. So I think we should be in good shape to avoid the rain that we had to deal with during the day yesterday. So it should be a pretty good game. We're going to step away here briefly and come back. We'll take a look at some of the players to watch, both for Boston and Philly. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Carey Stadium. Jeff Poster, Dusty Rhodes here for the second game here in Week 1 between the Boston Whitecaps and the Philadelphia Spinners. Let's take a look. Both teams have a lot of good players here, Dusty, but here's two guys that'll definitely be ones to watch out for in today's game. It's first, Billy Sickles, the reigning Rookie of the Year. He's very impressive offensively, and he might be the new go-to guy here for Philadelphia.
Well, that's for a couple things. The third here is he ready? Is he ready to fill that role that you were just talking about, that main offensive cutter, especially with Jake Rainwater not playing with the team this year? It leaves a lot of space for their offense. And that's the key question for this team today, especially after how they played yesterday. Yesterday against New York, they spent most of the game on defense, just scoring breaks on breaks on breaks against the New York Rumble, who seemed totally overmatched. Today it's going to be more a question of what can Philadelphia do on offense against the Boston Whitecaps defense, and Billy Sickles is going to be a huge part of that.
On the other side, you take up the guy who finished right behind Billy for the Rookie of the Year voting, Tyler Chan. Very impressive last season, had a nice night last night, really pulled Boston up in that comeback against DC. He's a pretty big piece for the Whitecaps as well.
Yeah, and as the game went on last night, he sort of found his role. It wasn't easy for him to be sort of a big, dominant, large field cutter. He had to find sort of smaller spaces. But as they had a comeback, he was instrumental in getting the disc over to the break side through a key assist late in the game. And it looks like he found his stride as we went through that. Today, it'll be similar to what Philadelphia experiences. It'll be about how does the Boston Whitecaps offense deal with legitimate defense in normal weather today. And again, Tyler Chan, the runner-up, as we saw for the Rookie of the Year last year, will have a large part in saying how that works out for Boston.
And it's Tyler's birthday today, so he should be excited to play even more so. So happy birthday, Tyler. It's not just one player on each team, though. It's a team game, and these teams have keys to the game. Let's take a look first at the Whitecaps. What do they have to do, Dusty, to win the Spinners here today?
Well, first they need to continue some of that momentum and belief that they had from last year. They finished the season last year with a 7-game winning streak, which continued into their first game last night. So it's an 8-game winning streak that they're on now. And they have to use their depth appropriately. Their team is strong from the top of their roster down to the bottom of the roster, all the way through offense and defense. They have to figure out how to use that against Philadelphia today. And as far as this last one, forget about yesterday. Yes, they started off the season with a win, But that particular game last night, not something that you want to reenact today against what we anticipate will be better weather throughout, a more powerful offense as a result for Philadelphia. So Boston will have to keep up with them today.
And on the other side, Philadelphia trying to get revenge, as this is a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals. Philadelphia was eliminated by the Whitecaps, and I'm sure they're hungry for revenge. What do they have to do to win?
Yeah, regaining the edge is key for them. As they sort of showed over the course of the season last year, they have enough to hang with Boston and even beat Boston. By the end of last year, however, once they got to the playoffs, Boston regained the upper hand. Boston is on their 8-game winning streak. There's nothing better for Philadelphia than to make a statement early in the season about how strong they are. And as we mentioned when we were talking about Billy Sickles, they need to figure out how their offense is going to run. It may not be as simple as just finding a specific player to replace them. It may be part of what Daryl Stanley is doing as a coach in order to change their offensive structure, but they need to figure out what the key to their offense is.
All right, we're going to step away here. Once again, when we come back, we'll meet the rest of the lineups and hopefully get a view from fieldside. You're watching MLU Live here in Week 1.
That was an incredible game to watch.
It was a huge loss.
I just decided to launch and try to get it.
I knew if I went up early enough, I could get it.
And all of a sudden, there are feet kind of above heads.
Does it all come back to this loss? Does it all come back to this play?
If I had 4 hands, I would put all 4 hands on the ball.
It was up the other line. They had to deliver.
Boston kept doing this thing that we didn't think was possible.
Haley Derbyshire singing the national anthem here at Carey Stadium. Welcome back, everybody. Jeff Poster, Dusty Rhodes, and momentarily we're hoping to get a talk to David Brandolph here. But both teams, Dusty, last night, very different games. Boston had to climb back. Philly blows out New York, and it could be a totally different story today. But I think we've got David Brandolph set up down on the field side.
Joining our captains are Commissioners Gary Scarpello.
Hi, Dave. Can you hear me down there?
I can. Hi, Dusty.
All right. How you doing today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing all right. How does it feel to be back on the field with the Spinners today?
It feels great.
Yeah?
Teammates, played with them for many years. I missed them last year, but I played club with a lot of them, this year, and so it's good to be back and playing with the Spinners again for sure.
And you're feeling pretty well recovered from your knee injury?
Yeah, it's been over a year since surgery, but I've been healthy for a very long time now. I'm feeling really strong. Actually, definitely feeling stronger than ever before.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We noticed you didn't play yesterday. You're just saving it up for the Whitecaps today?
No, I would have been out there yesterday, but with law school, I had a trial I had to do for my final, and so I couldn't miss that.
That makes all too much sense.
Yeah.
That's too easy.
I know.
And is there anything specific that you guys feel is the key to coming out strong in this game and performing well against the Whitecaps, who are historically doing very well?
Playing our game first and foremost. We're trying to do a new offensive system that plays up with space, uses space, utilizes space, and so if we can do that, and let our legs win the matchups, and I think we'll be able to take care of Boston. And looking at their roster, they're missing some of their veteran, experienced all-stars, and not to take them lightly, those young players, the younger players that they have, I'm sure are going to be very, very active and very, very good. It's just a matter of making sure that we play our game and we put them in the position that we want them to be in, where they have to make plays they're maybe not comfortable making yet.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Dustin.
Good luck out there today and have some fun, eh?
I appreciate it. Yeah, of course.
All right.
Thanks.
And great stuff there from David Brandel. So we just had the flip there at midfield from our head referee, James Kulinski, today. The captains for the Spinners this season, Nick Hironette, Trey Katzenbach, and Patrick Lindsay. Christian Foster, Jake Taylor, and John Hirschberger, the captains for Boston. And we take a look at the Boston offense right there. Jake Taylor, he will be kind of the go-to main handler there in the middle of the field. Matt Little will be there as well. Piers McNaughton, a huge game last night, as well as Tyler Chan, Jay Clark, is another guy we saw, had a nice night in his debut for the Whitecaps. So their offense should be clicking pretty well today. Hopefully they're trying to ride some momentum, ride the wave, as they like to say. Let's take a look at their defense here for the Whitecaps. Christian Foster, one of the other captains, along with Ben Katz, John Hirschberger, the third captain, Adrian Banerjee, Sean Doherty, Terry Roth, and Thomas Edmonds round out the defense for Boston, who had to do a lot of work there in that second half. They didn't have a break until late in the game, but the defense got it done.
Yeah, they managed to get through it at the end. It's a matter of belief almost that you will do it and that you're going to put in the work necessary, that you'll take charge of the opportunities you're given late in the game. Today, I don't expect it to be quite as early a hole to dig themselves in. I expect them to come out a little bit stronger today than they did early on against DC. But we'll only see. The Spinners could put them, as David Brandolph was saying, in a difficult position early on.
We take a look at the Boston side of the field. They're getting set to go. Philadelphia, on the other hand, a lot of familiar faces, but some new faces in there. A guy, David Brandolph, returning. Here's a look at their offense. Not a ton of surprises here. Michael Pano will be back out there. Himalaya Maeda, Trey Katzenbach, the veteran and captain. Billy Sickles running, and current Rookie of the Year, Matt Glazer, who last season was phenomenal at the beginning of the year and had a nice night last night against New York. Nick Hironette, the captain, and one of the new guys, Vince Radams, number 91, they'll round out the offense. And defensively, we'll see Gabe Colton, Izzy Bryant, Leon Chow, Patrick Lindsay, one of the captains and a featured player there. You see him. Matt Esser will have the tough matchup against Tyler Chan. And a couple of new guys, Doug Roman and Greg Martin, who's somebody had a nice debut as well against New York, and head coach Daryl Stanley told me he could be a guy to watch out for here today again.
It'll be exciting to see how everything's changed for Philadelphia in terms of what they do offensively, what they do defensively, how they use some of their players. It'll be a matter of testing themselves against some of the best that the MLU has against Boston right now, and that'll be our first real gauge for both of these teams. Boston played a slop fest last night against DC. Philadelphia played against a New York team that really didn't seem up for the challenge. And today they should find better matches.
So we've met the players, we've seen the captains, we've seen the flip. We're just waiting for the game to get going. We'll step away one more time. When we come back, we should have our first poll here at Carey Stadium.
That was an incredible game to watch.
It was a huge loss.
I just decided to launch and try to get it.
I knew if I went up early enough, I could get it.
And all of a sudden, there are feet kind of above heads.
Does it all come back to this loss? Does it all come back to this play?
If I had four hands, I would put all four hands on the ball.
It was up the O-line. They had to deliver.
Boston kept doing this thing that you didn't think was possible.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Carey Stadium. We are just about set to go here between the Boston Whitecaps on the road for the second leg of their opening weekend, and Philadelphia, their home opener here at Germantown Academy at Carey Stadium. A beautiful sunny day, a little chilly, been a little windy, but overall pretty good conditions here. You see the Spinners on the line, both teams 1-0 coming in and essentially already fighting for first place here in the early goings.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some a little more pristine ultimate. I mean, I love the slop as much as anybody does with that game last night. But today, this should be a clear expression of who these two teams are.
Well, Boston will pull from right to left across your screen. The Whitecaps in their white tops with the blue trim and numbers. Philadelphia in the blue tops with the Skippy logo right on the front of their jerseys and the maroon shorts and the white numbers now. As a much improved, in my opinion, as the
give that up to the design crew for sure.
And we are underway. Christian Foster pulling this disc, and you can already tell, Dusty, the way that disc is moving on this opening pull, the conditions are much better than we saw last night in D.C. as Trey Katzenbach reels it in and gets it up to Brandolph.
Good depth and good coverage there from Boston's defense. Philly came out in sort of a side stack to start. Nothing new so far.
Katzenbach over to Pana. He'll center it back. This is what Philly likes to do. They like to make a lot of throws. There's Meta. He'll dump it back. Kieran, his first touch. Nick Kieran always very good and very careful with the disc.
Moving backwards here a little bit. They've got some decent cuts downfield, but they're not creating a lot of separation.
Billy Sickles matched up defensively. Rob Baker, the former New York Rumble, now in his first season with Whitecaps, as the Whitecaps pushing Philadelphia back into their own end zone. Pana's got it. Now he'll send one deep down the field. Meta, he's got the long stride. Hirschberger can't catch up. Still several yards away from the end zone. But he's got it back to Brandolph to reset, and Brandolph will look towards the end zone. And in for the score is Billy Sickles as Philadelphia gets the early 1-0 lead.
The key big throw there from Pana opened up the field. As we saw, Meta had enough space away from his defender. And then Brandolph had enough space to throw to Sickles for the goal there. With the size of the end zone and the speed at which those players are moving, it's very difficult for a defender to recover all the way downfield and then be able to make a play on the D in the end zone.
Take a look, Himalaya Meta right there. He had the big long run, that long stride. And even a guy like Hirschberger who has a long stride himself, he was 10 yards behind him still. That's an easy score for Philadelphia, and you got to feel good to get out in a lead in your home opener.
Well, their offense was a little slowed down early, but that's to be expected a little bit. They responded well. They maintained composure as a team, and then they worked their way back down the field once they saw the opening deep.
Matt Esser will be the one to pull here on the far end of the line for Philadelphia. Sporting the Mohawk once again this season.
He's got the hard part on one side, the soft on the other side. It's looking pretty good for him.
Jake Taylor receives that pull. Matt Little in control, sends it over to Sandy Hartwiger, rookie here for Boston. Little trying to shake around the defense.
Boston's working primarily out of a horizontal stack here.
McNaughton had a big game last night, 4 goals, gets it up to Chan. They were the 1-2 punch there in the second half for the Whitecaps. One of the new guys, Jay Clark, up to Taylor. Taylor's man tumbles down a little bit, and it gives him some space. This one floats. Chan bounces off his hand, and then coming over is Philadelphia just to apply the extra hit to save it. It's Greg Martin, the guy that Coach Stanley said to watch out for.
And now we'll get the first opportunity for a break here.
Quick catch by Tom O'Connor.
It's a tough one there from Brian up to him.
O'Connor again. O'Connor lets it loose. Martin trying to track this one down. It's going to hang just enough with a layout, and he's just outside. He's going to be on the goal line. Esser's all alone, though, the trailer. And Philadelphia gets the early break with Matt Esser scoring off the throw from Martin. O'Connor there with the big-time hockey assist.
Yeah, that was a big put from him. I wasn't ready for that to come out quite as powerfully as it did. We didn't see him take a lot of throws last year.
See that one just bounce off a Chan's hand.
And then he unleashed this pass all the way upfield. Full extension here. Almost. He tucked a little bit there at the end. But what we had then is just another fast break that Philadelphia converted on. That's 2 situations where they had a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-2 or some sort of small-sided scenario to score, and it's best to do that quickly before the rest of the defense gets down. They're looking good so far, Philadelphia.
Good to see Tom O'Connor, his second year here with the Spinners. Definitely saw him last year, but not a guy that we would have maybe expected to have a big huck like that.
Yeah, well, they created enough space, and when you see that there are no extra defenders down there, most of these players have the throws. It's just they don't often get full space to take that throw.
Jack Casey pulling for Philadelphia that time. Hirschberger will pick it up.
So isolation play here out of a side stack.
A little shimmy there from Alex Cooper. Gets it over to Christian Foster. Foster will keep it on the near side here to Katz. Katz looking to work the sideline. Gets it up to Thalen. Thalen trying to direct some traffic. Just a small throw to Foster. Foster with the OI. What a grab there by Nick Thompson. And Boston gets it back.
There was
and Katz.
It was a very aggressive look there from Foster across the field, and a good way for Johnson to go up and confirm that with the catch. He was very sure of where that was coming in, despite a little bit of wind.
Here's the short little throw to Foster that set it up, and then he just unloads, and Thompson elevated there.
Did a very good job of getting his hand out there confidently and trusting that by going through the disc, he was going to make the play on it instead of worrying whether it was going to go up or down. He had a very good read.
You can definitely tell Boston's the visiting team as how silent the crowd and the DJ and everything got after they got that score. So it's 2-1 here, Philadelphia. 7.5 left to go in the first quarter.
It's all looking pretty good so far for Philadelphia. That wasn't too bad on defensively on their part. Now we'll get another look at their offense, and we'll see if Boston changes anything up for D.
Hiernett with the hand up, signaling that his line is ready. Boston set to pull. Adrian Banerjee with the pull. It's a low one. We'll skip off the ground a bit and roll a couple of yards. Katzenbach all alone is Meta. So Boston's kind of got that free safety hanging out in the back right now, poaching off.
Slowing down their offense, even without necessarily putting a stall count on.
Matt Glazer finds Sickles right at midfield. Sickles looking to get it back to Glazer. Glazer again pointing. Pana reaches out, makes the catch.
Boston's communicating pretty well here on their defenses. There's a little bit of switching, a little bit of looking for blocks in the lane.
Pana and Hiernett connect. Terry Roth trying to play Nick, keep him honest. Glazer right back to Hiernett. Kind of pocketed that one, and now he unloads for Pana. Pana about 10 yards short of the end zone. And now he'll float one in, and the catch is made. The score is good, and David Brandolph, welcome back to Philadelphia and the Spinners.
It was a good, patient offensive point on the whole. Boston is throwing a couple things at them that they're having to respond to, and then we see Hiernett relieves the pressure here to take it downfield to Pana. Doesn't sort of put it out in front of him, just hits him directly with the pass. And then we've got Brandolph involved in another score there.
2 points already here for Dave. An assist and a goal, and it's 3-1 with 6:38 left to go.
I hope he was a good pickup in everybody's fantasy drafts, because usually when he plays, he's responsible for a lot of scoring plays.
It's just so unusual to see him with hair, though. That's really throwing us off.
Well, you got to go through style changes
right.
when you're with your follicular follies, as it were. I'm liking the way this game's looking so far. Both these teams are confident and playing well.
Like you said, it's a little bit warmer, at least with the sun today. Here's Alex Cooper in the middle, right up to Thompson. Thompson to McNaughton. Boston moving quickly. McNaughton will air it out, looking downfield for Jay Clark. And Clark elevates, skies up over the Philadelphia defense and makes a fantastic grab for a score.
That was pretty much an as-called point for Boston. All of this almost seemed scripted from the first cut all the way through this goal. It could have been a slightly better throw to make it more of, a little more distance from the defender, but that's all you need is just your offensive player to get there a little bit earlier. The problem there was that Philadelphia didn't really challenge them defensively at all. It was just an easy, well-performed point by Boston's offense.
Yeah, just about 4 throws it took him to get down there. McNaughton with the assist. Clark skying over Greg Martin.
4 seconds per throw, 16 seconds. That's all it was.
And 6:22 left to go here in the first. 3-2. Philadelphia still on top. And looking for more here. Hiernett signaling that they're ready.
We've seen this in the past for these teams where they'll get into an occasion where each team will score in 30 seconds, 16 seconds, 50 seconds with no turnovers, no breaks. And that's how you get a very high-scoring game.
Last season, the teams met 4 times, including that playoff matchup. They split. Boston and Philly opened up the season. Philly taking a 22-20 win back on April 18th. They won in overtime, 22-21 in Boston, and then Boston absolutely blew them out in the last 2 matchups, 26-13 at the end of June and 21-16 in the playoffs. So Philly has some bad memories of Boston, looking to avenge that. Meta again downfield. This time he'll make it into the end zone, and he leaves Davis Whitehead in the dust.
That whole play was set up by the way that Philadelphia used a vertical stack to create an isolation at the front of the field, and then they used their throws to get the disc from one side to the other, and then attack the defender who was still recovering from the previous throw. Here Net looks downfield to Meta here, and it's that easy at that point. We get the excellent celebration here as well, tossing the disc up, shooting it out with an arrow. I can respect that, I suppose. You got to let the kids have their fun,
Exactly.
as they say.
So Meta gets his first score. Hirnek gets his first assist, and it's 4-2 now.
Philadelphia's looking purposeful on the offensive side, as Boston has thus far.
Pretty good crowd here today. We still have some people trickling in.
Yeah, this time they filled out both sides of the stands,
Yeah.
too. Usually everybody just clumps on one side for some reason.
Reeling in that pull is Hartwinger up to Taylor. Well, Coach Stanley said he knows that Jake Taylor will do a lot of handling. They want to try to force throws around, just like McNaughton unleashes here, but the defense does a pretty good job of containing both Chan and Thompson. They couldn't get downfield quick enough, though. I don't know if even they had the separation.
They were looking for Chan there, and it's really difficult to create separation from Matt Esser, who is on the matchup. But the toss needed to be out in front a little bit and a little less knifey. Or, as it bladed in, it needed to be more accurate.
Leon Chow, fourth year here in the MLU. Nice grab. Skying up for that one is the big man O'Connor from Isaiah Bryant.
It's good to have that extra reach.
Bryant looking for something to Esser. Got him there. O'Connor again. Two tall guys here, O'Connor and Taylor, going toe-to-toe.
Some patient, very simple offense right now from Philadelphia. It's a very simple vertical stack working up the open side right now.
Gabe Colton gets it back to Bryant. Colton again at midfield. Colton to Esser, off of Esser's hands, but he's able to collect himself and collect the disc. And O'Connor with the layout score.
And there we've got Philadelphia back on with another break. They did a good job of maintaining during that sort of stagnant bit where they were only having one cutter at a time, but they had enough patience from the handler set to work upfield till we got here. Yeah. Esser with the focus, and then he simply knows that he's throwing a goal here. He's not looking anywhere else. He's just figuring out which Philadelphia Spinners player he's going to throw the goal to.
Good composure there by Esser to have it go off his hand but stay with the play and secure the disc afterwards. And O'Connor having a nice home debut this afternoon.
Yeah, looking pretty good. It looks like they're going to be using him more in a handler role because once he started pushing upfield, he didn't really keep going into the end zone or keep going down into a cutting space. He stayed more around the disc and was even getting the disc out of the hands of Esser, who looked like he wanted to get rid of it pretty quickly earlier in that point.
4:42 left to go, 5-2. We saw Boston get down a lot yesterday. Did not seem to matter, so very early, a lot to go in this one still. Matt Little, swing it over to Cooper. Cooper and Katz just
a simple execution error there. Philadelphia was in a bit of a zone, but that's just a drop unrelated to the defense.
Charlie McCutcheon with the disc now. Drops it back to Nick Patel. Dustin Damiano on the far side there. And
it's a little tight.
A whistle. Timeout.
Timeout called. Just trying to figure.
Still count was getting up.
Yeah.
So.
I was a little worried that there was a little bit of a quick trigger on a stall there. But no, instead we've got a Philly timeout.
Well, Philly takes the timeout. We'll take it to 5-2 your score. 4:05 left to go here in the first on MLU Live. Everybody, welcome back to Carey Stadium at Germantown Academy. Jeff Poster, Dusty Rhodes here for MLU Live. Philadelphia in the middle of a timeout right now with the disc, threatening. Trying to double up Boston. Or more so, actually. Triple up. It'll be 6-2.
Again, that's just a rough start. We know that it's not too much for them to overcome based on yesterday.
Right.
But it's not the sort of thing you want to get in the habit of, is believing that you can just get down at any point in the game and come back. Because at some point, it's not going to happen that way. Even the Warriors lose games. Even the Whitecaps get in situations where they shouldn't put themselves there. We found that out last season where it was a little tougher for them. The season before where they came in second place into the playoffs. So they have to make sure that they figure out how to start these games off right, even though that's sort of water under the bridge at this point in this game.
Well, Boston was down as many as 5 last night, 10-5 at one point. DC was on top. Outscored the Current 8-3 in that fourth quarter, including a 4-0 run that capped it off and got them that 17-16 win.
Yeah, that run at the end of the game was really impressive. They just took it upon themselves not to throw those careless turnovers or just have the execution errors that they had earlier, or it's just a way that percentages work, you know? It's like
right.
if it's a 75% throw and you mess up all the time in the early going,
then
maybe
it
it'll
should
all
be
balance
back
out.
in your favor
Maybe.
by the end. At least last night it did, potentially.
It did. It was exciting to watch.
So Huronet's going to start off with the disc. Andrew Hooker coming over on the mark. Huronet getting a little bit of space. Banerjee comes over defensively, and they get it. They thread the needle into Katzenbach. A good bid by Terry Roth defensively to try and knock that one down, but the timeout and the substitutions work out for Philadelphia as they connect. Panna to Katzenbach.
That's a small space over there with the closing defender getting even closer in Katzenbach's way there. You got to be careful of the sideline as you're throwing straight down the sideline to the goal, but they managed to get it in there. Katzenbach has sure hands,
yeah,
but that's not necessarily a chance you want to take with a player like Roth closing in.
Terry very close there on his layout bid. But all the same, Philadelphia now with the 6-2 lead and 3:54 left to go.
That was an overall pretty quick point there for Philadelphia. Their breaks are coming quickly. They're not really giving the disc back once they get an opportunity. And that's a key to getting an early lead. We saw that again from BC last night as well. It's got to maintain over the course of the game. If they can extend this lead a little bit more before this quarter is out, they'll be in a really good spot.
Hartwiger fields the pull for Boston. They get it to Taylor, finds Clark. Chan cross midfield. Chan right away up to Fallon. There's Hulkyard. Hartwiger already in stride for his first MLU goal.
Yeah, it may be his first MLU goal, but the cut that he used to set up and get that goal, that's one of the oldest cuts in the Ultimate Book, and it works at every level. It works on everybody.
Here it is again.
He runs his player back towards the backfield, gets a half fake, and then goes right back upfield for the goal. The thrower and the cutter were on the same page at the same time. So the thrower throws that little around fake, and it convinces the defender who's on Hartwiger to commit to that around pass instead of defending the goal like you always have to right near the end zone.
Gabe Colton, the one biting for Philadelphia there.
It seems simple when you explain it, but it's so difficult in real time to know because you're trained to get ready for maybe a pass to be a little bit off, be ready to close down on the mark, and you have to accelerate to get there. But if you do that just before the pass comes up and the other team's on the same page, you're roasted up line.
So Boston gets one back here, 6-3, 3:28 left to go. Another pretty quick score again for the Whitecaps, less than a minute. And Foster will pull. We'll try to roll this one a bit.
Looks like we'll probably get that double team on the sideline here.
Yeah, that's what they're going for. Looks like Hooker.
We talked about this yesterday. That's always a amount of time before you get the disc also.
Hooker and Nick Murphy applying the double team.
Ooh, that's a
bit
little
of a
dangerous.
collision. Catch is made.
Dangerous.
Another low throw as the Spinners try to get through Boston's double team. They get it to Sickles, and now they clear it out for some space here for Katzenbach. Swings it back to Huronet.
Got a goer.
And there it is, uncorked. Looking for Radams, and they got it. Vince Radums, the Penn State product, gets the goal here.
Philadelphia did pretty well to get through the Boston double team on the mark and use both sides of the field. But eventually what happened is they lost track of the Philadelphia big man here, and he was on the other side of the deep player, which is Christian Foster. But there's not really a size matchup there of equivalence for Boston. The size factor there, being able to just sort of post up in the end zone, makes it almost impossible for the Boston player to make a play.
How about Philadelphia here in the first? 7 scores already, and there's still 3 minutes left. We thought Boston's 8 last night in the fourth was impressive. There's a good chance Philadelphia surpasses that.
It's true. And Boston really needs to put a couple more on the board here just to get back into this.
Yep.
It could be key to them how they manage the clock here till the end of this first quarter. If they can get the last goal in this quarter, that'll benefit them greatly.
Ethan Peck with the pull. Peck had a good debut yesterday for the Spinners against the Rumble.
Nice spread offense here from Boston to start.
Chan gets it across to Fallon. Fallon nowhere to go, dumps it back to Taylor. Taylor through the middle to Little. McNaughton on the far side.
Now they're into a comfortable vertical stack here in the end zone.
Getting it to that break side. Little. Little low throw, and Taylor tries to lay out, and it's just out of his reach. Opportunity for another break.
A big opportunity at that. That's one of those moments where they're missing a creative thrower near the end zone to just take control and make sure a goal happens.
Patrick Lindsay drops it back with their head to Chow. Chow really the mainstayer here on the defensive side in this line for Philadelphia. A lot of new faces around him. And now he's got the disc again across midfield. He's got a man going deep, and that's Colton. And it's tipped up, and McNaughton with the D.
Yeah, Chow was trying to beat a double team there into the end zone, and he needed a perfect throw to do it, and that's not what he threw. Threw something just underneath the space that he was trying to get to, and it needed to be well better than that, I suppose. Perhaps if he was right-handed, it would have been a better throw, but he stuck throwing with that other hand.
So Boston will have a minute 30 approximately to go the length of the field and at least cut it to a 3-goal game.
They're starting off in the spread here again.
McNaughton on the far side, Little wide open. And making his move is Thompson, if he can get there. Again, just out of the laying out reach.
And now Philly's got a minute to try to put this another point on the board.
Plenty of time for them.
I mean, they got down there last time just fine, but they didn't get that last throw.
Peck starts things off up to McCutcheon. And that one over Damiano's head, and Cooper will track it down.
Philadelphia was rushing there. They felt the pressure a bit, and now Boston has a much easier opportunity.
Cooper dumping it back to Fallon. 30 seconds left to go here for Boston. They would benefit from a score to close out the quarter. Taylor finds McNaughton. Little trying to get free.
It's been a good bit of back and forth in this point. You can see some of the players are a little ragged, a little tired.
Fallon and keep Boston going the wrong way right now. Taylor, Chan is open. There's only, well, we have a stoppage. Clock is still running at the moment, but.
Yeah, they'll fix that, I'm sure. Figure out where we're coming back to, how much time there's going to be.
It's against Philadelphia, so Boston will take the 10 yards. He was away from the disc. Now they're going to bring it back.
Looks like we've got 5 seconds left. Okay, so it looks like it was against Boston.
Initially signaled against Philadelphia as Taylor marched it forward, and the refs overruled the other and put it against Boston. So as I had just said, they seem to be going the wrong direction, and now they're even further pinned back. So we'll have a meeting of the minds here as the referees look to discuss it.
Team Orange has to figure out our reality.
Right.
They'll let us know what it is in a moment.
Again, head referee today, James Kulinski and his crew.
So then the other two teams are also going to huddle. We're going to get the Whitecaps in here
Yeah,
to figure out
might
what
as
they're
well.
doing. Spinners are going to figure out what they're doing.
Free timeout. 7-3 the score. The clock will be adjusted. It's sitting right at just under 6 seconds right now. 5.8 to be exact. You see 6 on our score here.
It's still quite an important point here at the end of the first quarter.
Absolutely. Swing your momentum and back in your favor. All right, we are going to step away here briefly. When we come back, we'll see what Boston can do in that final couple of seconds here in the first quarter. Sorry about that. We are going to keep it right here. So it looks like Jake Taylor will have to step back here. It's going to end up being against Boston, the foul. And they're back beyond midfield.
10 seconds left.
Saw Chan immediately head downfield. Keeps, like you just said, Dusty, an even 10 seconds now. They get it to Thompson. Thompson right back to Taylor, trying to create some separation. Taylor unloads. It's going to get into the end zone. Will Boston catch it? Reaching up, and Cooper's got it. Over 4 different players, 3 from Philly, 1 from Boston. And Alex Cooper closes out the first quarter in pretty good fashion.
That was a real error there on Philadelphia's part. They needed to either get the last goal with the possession that they had, or they needed to not give Boston a chance to score. Instead, Boston has a 3-point difference here instead of a 5-point difference or even just a 4-point difference.
Right.
Big swing right here at the end of the first quarter.
We'll see how that momentum carries over into the second. We're going to step away. It's 7-4, Philadelphia on top of Boston after 1.
The team dynamic is just to have as much fun as possible.
It's an experience, man. You turn around and you look and there's this big giant animal running towards you.
When I first started commentating, it was kind of tough for me because it's like, well, I can be out there too. I can play with these guys. Well, why am I up here in the booth?
Jeff Grant he's a freaking monster. He can sort of just do it all, you know?
A few of my students were like, we saw you on the bus. I was like, I don't ride the bus. No, you're on the side of the bus.
Everybody, welcome back to Carey Stadium, Germantown Academy. Definitely some entertainment going on here in between quarters. Jeff Poster, Dusty Rhodes on hand for today's game. You can see the good crowd here today as well.
We're doing sort of a lip sync dance contest thing going on here. We got some folks getting real excited about it.
That's the new thing now, as you see the score here, 7-4. It all started with the Tonight Show. Jimmy Fallon started this lip sync battle. There's now a whole show about it.
This is a thing.
That's a
I'm
thing,
missing
Dusty.
out.
I'm telling you, it's a thing.
Is this what all the kids are doing? Is that what you're telling
like
me?
Milli Vanilli was about 25 years too early.
Well, it's all a performance, right? It's just
Exactly.
karaoke under a different name.
Exactly. You see the Philadelphia huddle. Now, they gave up that last goal to Boston to close out the first. If you're just joining us, Philadelphia outscoring Boston 7-4, but Alex Cooper might have swung some momentum back in Boston's favor.
Well, it's also not just momentum, it's actual real points.
Well,
Philadelphia really should have had a 5-point lead. This 3-point lead that they've got now, this is how comebacks start. This is how you leave the door open for your opponents, which is what DC did yesterday. They had a couple opportunities to really put up enough points that Boston comeback wouldn't have amounted to a win. It would have been overtime instead. It would have been something else.
Philadelphia is ready to go as they head onto the fields. They will be pulling to start here in the second. Boston still looking to take the field, and here we go.
And that's another advantage for Boston is after you score that last goal, now you get a chance on offense. Just swings it a little bit again. Chan has been having much more of an effect today as a cutter already. He's pulling a lot of defenders with him, whereas yesterday when he went on those runs deep towards the end zone, they didn't really have to respect it because unless the thrower had a perfect storm of a little space from their mark, happened to have a backhand available instead of a forehand available, unless all of that came together, they weren't able to look deep for him. But today he's been eating up a lot of yardage and pulling extra defenders into his area as well.
Matt Esser to pull, and it's away. Hartwigger reels it in and right up to Taylor to start off the offense.
Starting off in a spread here, but it looks like Philadelphia is also in a zone to start. Kind of a 1-2, 1-2-1.
Taylor fakes the hammer. Hartwigger back to Little. Taylor, or Clark rather, on the far side, up to Chan. Hulkyard's wide open.
Yeah, now they've gotten back into their man matchups.
McNaughton trying to get free in the end zone. They shake him off. This is a Blady throw, and very tough to catch even if you're right underneath it.
That's right. As soon as Boston got into a normal offense, their offense failed them.
So Bryant will start off for Philadelphia. Trying to dump it back. Good cut there. A handler's perspective from McCutcheon. Gets it up to Peck.
Wow.
He unleashes this one, and it's...
Wow. That was an excellent way to get up there first.
Greg Martin nearly goes 20 feet into the air, it seemed.
And to be fair, the defender was about 5 yards deep of him when the throw went up. I'm not sure what the thrower saw, and then we saw what the thrower saw. Apparently, this is what he does.
That was Jason Clark, Jay Clark. Hartwigger has it to start. Dump it back to Taylor. Hulkyard.
Still sort of a zone look to start here from Philadelphia to give Boston something to think about before they get into their defense.
Tanner Hulkyard gets it back again.
Much more men now.
Oh.
There. Another little error from Boston.
Tom O'Connor.
And a heads-up play from Philadelphia again.
Smacks it down.
Pass wasn't in the air very long, but he sort of knew it was coming and knew the area that he had to attack as a defensive player.
Already almost 2 minutes gone here on this opening point. There's Martin again. Drops it back for Bryant. Bryant to O'Connor. O'Connor finds some space to McCutcheon. McCutcheon trying to back to Bryant. Bryant looking onto the open side, and they're in for the score. And it's Tom O'Connor. He has been all over this game.
The Philadelphia offense there through the end of that point was doing an excellent job of, as the coaches and players were saying before the game, of working to create space where their players don't have to move quite as much and they can rely on areas around them. So here Bryant has options to all directions. He has an option on the break side, he has an option as a reset on the break side, he has an option as a reset on the open side, and he also has the player cutting directly in front of him to the break.
Bookends too for O'Connor. It seemed like it took a little while to get to that point, but he had the D. And he got the score.
Good work there from Philadelphia to eventually get that point. Took a little while, 2 minutes and changed, almost 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And we'll see what Boston has here to answer with. If they can get a quick score here, Philadelphia will have a lot of the same players back on their O-line, and that could be an opportunity for Boston to break.
Pole's going to hang up there for a little while. Pretty good. Cooper brings it in.
Another zone here. Sort of a 3-2-2.
I've got Foster, who just caught the disc, out there with the offense now. He's more of a hybrid player we've seen so far in the first 2 games here this season. Fallon up to Little.
I like the pressure Philadelphia's putting on here. They're seeing their teammates pretty well and working the zone against this Boston offense.
Katz is open. Cooper.
Now we're all back into man, and Boston's in a vertical stack here.
Bid defensively by Damiano, just missed. Allows Little some time, gets it to Katz. Katz up to Cooper, and Cooper puts it in. And in for the score is Thompson.
Good patience there from Boston to get through both the original zone that Philadelphia brought out, as well as once they got into the man here, it was just a matter of isolation cuts, which Boston has been historically very good at once they get to the end zone, creating enough space for one player to have an option to the open side and the break side. And the throwers have enough confidence to put an outside in on it to keep it away from the defender.
We talked about it yesterday. If you missed the game yesterday against the current Boston, brought in talent that had previously been in other parts of the league. Nick Thompson, who just scored that one of them, was out on the West Coast with the Dogfish a season ago, as well as Andrew Hooker. They also have Rob Baker. There's Hooker right there, right on cue. How about that? Rob Baker, who's also on the team this year, previously playing with the Rumble back in 2013. They did it last year. They brought in Adrian Banerjee from the Rumble.
They're finding Rumble refugees.
Just taking everybody away from their other teams.
If you can't beat them, join them.
Right, I guess.
If you can beat them, take them.
And we know that most teams have not been able to beat Boston here. Right now, Philadelphia is beating Boston, though, 8-5. And with the discs, first time their O-line has been able to get on the field here in the second quarter. Pana there on the far side. Pana unloads downfield, and Meta has been deep left and right here. And he's got his arrow shot on the disc once again as a celebration.
The point there on the whole was solid from Philadelphia. There really wasn't much resistance from the Boston D on that particular point. And again, he's created enough space deep that it's an easy throw for the thrower. It's not a matter of being difficult for Panda to deliver that disc. It's all done on the cutter's behalf.
3 assists already in the game for Pana.
Well, you keep seeing open players like that, and you can rack up assists in a hurry.
He's a guy played a lot on the D-line previous years, out there with the offense. Again, we're only in the second game of the season, so there's definitely moving parts on all teams still, but that's where his role seems to be, at least so far. Matt Esser with the pull, left to right.
It's a good one. It's sitting up there a little bit.
Come down, caught by Clark.
Philly starting out in a softish zone. They'll probably match up pretty quickly, though.
Scuba over the top. Couple of fakes there from Fallon. And the D coming in. No one saw Greg Martin. There he was, and he's streaking downfield.
Took off at full speed and got the first defender out of there. It's a good way to start your fast break.
O'Connor, Esser. That one reeled in by Peck. There's O'Connor again. O'Connor telling his guy to come back under.
Bit of a vertical stack look here from Philadelphia.
Oh, and Bryant dropped that one.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I was looking upfield to see what he was seeing, and apparently he wasn't a thrower.
Just went down and low to catch it, but apparently touched the ground. Hulk Yard throws a low one to Fallon. Wide open to his right is Chan, and Chan will connect with Fallon.
It's a fortunate break there for Boston where the Spinners just ended up giving that away on a seemingly routine play, and Boston doesn't get broken. Philadelphia is marching up pretty confidently there. And instead what we have here is a very run-of-the-mill play here once we got it over to Tyler Chan on the break side.
A little give and go between Chan and Fallon.
I mean, it's a Scuba to a push pass, but those are pretty open players, and those are the spaces and the moments that they had to throw the disc.
So a break for Boston by not getting broken.
Correct. Correct.
A catch-up break.
Have to be careful with those the terminology out here.
Lingo. We got a timeout on the field. We'll take it too. There's 5:33 left to go. It's 9-6 Philadelphia over Boston. Welcome back to Carey Stadium. Boston used their first timeout. We'll get set up for a midfield pull as we look in First we saw Philadelphia sideline. There's Boston's huddle. Sam Rosenthal, the head coach here in his 3rd season, assisted by Tom Matthews, Mike Miller. Definitely trying to come up with a strategy here to get his team back into this one.
Yeah, and this was the same thing that we had in the game last night. Boston has yet to register a break. So putting a little bit of pressure on Philadelphia with a midfield pull is a likely way that they'll get a better shot at a break. But Philadelphia's offense has looked confident with the disc. They've been moving it around pretty well. They've changed a couple different structures. So they've been working out of a vert stack as well as a spread or horizontal at times. So that's keeping Boston's defense on their toes. This is one of the things that we were talking about preseason, where if Philadelphia varies its strategies a little bit more on offense, they'll probably be in a better position on defense when they're playing against all these the other teams in the East.
Well, the refs are telling the players, let's go, let's get on the field here.
We came out here to watch Frisbee, not to watch people standing around
That's right.
waiting to play Frisbee.
So Boston, midfield pull, left to right still. Foster is the guy to do it. I wonder if Foster is not available for a game, who would be the person for Boston to have this midfield pull? Because I don't know if we've seen now in the 2 years here with it anybody else even attempt it. I'm sure someone can, but he's their guy for it.
Yeah, and he almost invariably uses outside ins both for his midfield pulls and his full field pulls.
That was a good one. Pana tried to stop it and laid out, but he found that spot in between, so they'll be pinned all the way back here, and very quick to get that one in up to Pana. Still deep in the end zone, though.
It's tight.
And they throw it away. So works out for Boston here, and a chance to break.
The only way you could get a better chance was if they caught that for a Callahan. This is exactly what Boston needs, and this is their chance to get to strike back at Philadelphia.
Rob Baker with the pressure on Pana. And they throw it into Doherty. So I wouldn't be shocked if Boston does it again.
That's the aggressive play. I'm not sure they're going for it right away, but that wouldn't be out of character for Sam Rosenthal or the rest of this team. This is just clinical execution here from Boston's offense in the end zone. The space that he ended up throwing that goal to was open as soon as the player left the stack. All he had to do was find the right path to sit it out in front of his cutter.
It's as close as Boston's been in a while. Now, it does not look like they will go back-to-back midfield pulls here.
Yeah. That was Foster to Doherty, right?
Yes.
Okay. Making sure. Getting used to seeing all these guys again out on the field.
And, well, it doesn't help when a guy like Sean Doherty, who's been number 5 for the first 3 years of the league, just decides to up and change to 12.
And who was 12 before? Do we have a quick one on that?
Alex Simmons, one of the guys that
there we go.
And they lost some, haven't talked too much about it because we're focused on the here and now, but both teams are trying to, overcome some big-name players that were lost. Obviously, Jeff Graham, Josh Marquette, the big guys. Alex Simmons was a captain for Boston. Philadelphia loses Rainwater and
it's all
Sheridan.
It's all part of starting to have a history of the MLU, where we're starting to confuse them with players who have been there before.
Exactly. Hearing it, he'll just uncork right away, and Rob Baker elevates. That's what he does. He blocks discs.
That block downfield from Baker was the result of excellent coverage across the field from Boston. Philadelphia had no options. There was nowhere to go. And Hiernett took the choice of having the turnover or reception happening further downfield as opposed to near the disc. Probably a good choice.
Foster will pick it up here for Boston, as this is starting to look a little familiar. That's something we saw recently, and he will just unload right away. This one tipped up in the air, but enough to keep it away from Hirschberger. Nice job by Himalaya Maeda.
It's an excellent chase down and effort there to go get the block. Ideally, you're going to catch that because as we saw last night, when you tip it up, anything can happen. But when you're flying at about shoulder height out there to get it, you do everything you can.
Just to make some contact with it. There's Sickles. He's been quiet the last couple of points. Gets it back from Katzenbach. Puts it out. Pana. Meta is headed downfield.
He's calling for it.
He wants it. Brandolph. Now Himalaya coming back under. Glazer's deep. He comes under. Meta trying to get it around Hirschberger. Instead dumps it back Sickles. Baker's on him. Pana, a low throw to Glazer.
Some of Philadelphia's players are a little tired right now, but their offense is still structured well.
A lot of dumps here, dump and swing for Philadelphia. Hiernett sends it out. Sickles reels it in. Katzenbach trying to find some space against Herskew. Panna still shy of the end zone. About 5 yards out.
Knocking on the doorstep.
Panna with the hammer and sent it over everybody.
There's really not anybody over there.
I don't know if he thought Meadow, who was kind of back there, would head that direction, but he just threw it.
That was the one they needed. They had everything go the right way for them after that turn and just couldn't take advantage here.
2:55 left to go. Boston has the disc back here, looking for another break, make it a one-goal game. Hirschberger will start it off. Returning to the Whitecaps after being injured all of last season, and that one is tipped nicely. Philadelphia.
This is a good block by Panna, but the cut from Foster was good enough that shouldn't have been a play.
Wow, what a catch there for Philadelphia, though.
That was Maeda again. If they score this one, they owe it to him.
And we get a timeout by Philadelphia. Himalaya Maeda with an amazing layout grab as Foster had tipped it. And we'll take a look here at a couple of these plays that have happened on this crazy point. Here, take a look at this one. That was the first D by Baker.
We're looking deep here again. This should be the chase down.
Yep, this is, see it in slow-mo here. What a bid there, the right hand. And Hirschberger.
And this is the point block, and then it tips up, and Maeda comes in from the far side with the defender right with him. It wasn't as though his defensive player stopped playing and he had a free run at it. He had to do that under pressure.
I'll tell you this, John Hirschberger is getting sick of Himalaya Maeda, probably. He's playing a great defensive game against him.
But again, this is the chance for Philadelphia to get this one in. They called that timeout. They should be able to put out whoever they want at this point, and we'll see.
Well, they take the timeout. We take it too. It's 7-9 Philadelphia.
That was an incredible game to watch.
It was a huge loss.
I just decided to launch and try to get it.
I knew if I went up early enough, I could get it.
And all of a sudden, there are feet kind of above heads.
Does it all come back to this loss? Does it all come back to this play?
If I had four hands, I would put all four hands on it.
It was up the O-line. They had to deliver.
Boston kept doing this thing that we didn't think was possible.
Welcome back to Carey Stadium. Timeout on the field, Philadelphia second. They got the 9-7 lead and some spectacular defense from their O-line cutter, Himalaya Maeda, twice already on this point. Boston will also sub out. Looks like Hirschberger will stay in.
Yeah, they definitely have some fresh legs out there, though.
Hooker and Taylor. Banerjee come in as well as Edmonds. Actually, I think Hirschberger's the only guy staying out.
Looks like Philadelphia is going to be staying for the most part with their O-line here.
Vince Radums comes out. You can see Glazer, Sickles. Doug Roman, I've not seen much of this afternoon. Damiano comes in as well. Hiernett stays out. They get it to Glazer. Right back, Brandolph. Brandolph looking for the end zone, and they got Damiano there for their 10th goal of the game. Stops a 2-goal run by Boston.
That's the right thing to get that timeout and then take care of a very simple offensive point, a very simple score from there. And now it looks like Philadelphia is going to call another timeout.
Their last
Probably
one.
try to pull from midfield, I suppose.
That would be the idea with 2:11 left to go. Now up back to 3. It's 10-7 here at the timeout. Welcome back to Carey Stadium. 2:11 left to go. Philadelphia for Their first midfield pull of the game. See how they do on the execution of it. Could really push their lead here going into halftime.
Yeah, with 2:11 left, we're at the point where both teams should start to think about the clock, but it shouldn't dominate their play. You don't need to rush if you're Philadelphia in terms of the longer your offensive points take and the longer your offensive possessions take, the more likely you are to take a lead into halftime. And for Boston, you would like to get 2 goals or 3 goals or something like that, but you're going to settle for whatever you can get. If you have an opportunity to do it sooner, you'll take that, but you need to score more than anything else.
Boston looking to not get pinned back in the deep part of the end zone, so the stop here on the midfield pull will be crucial.
Philly seems to be actively choosing to be the second team out of all of these timeouts.
Yeah. They want to see just who Boston's sending out there.
The last one, they sprinted out right at the last moment. That may not have been totally planned, but this one, they don't seem to be rushing out there either.
Head coach Daryl Stanley taking over the reins this year in his first season. Taking over for previous 3 years of Billy Maroon at the helm. Now it's Coach Stanley's show to run. So far, so good. He got the victory last night, and he's on top here, getting close to halftime.
Yeah, you can see their offensive structure is a little bit different. They're working with their first reset a little bit differently, clearing out more space. But on the whole, a lot of these players have the same habits, so it's a matter of finding how to use those habits in a new system.
Nice job by Chow to pin Boston back. Cooper has it to start, up to Clark.
Wind has picked up a little bit too, so this is a little tougher possession.
Clark trying to get rid of it just in time. Long swing out to McNaughton. McNaughton has to drop it back for Taylor, very close. He's pinned all the way back again. And now they'll just uncork it and try and get it out. Esser with some great defense and positioning there on Thompson, and then knocks it down just for assurance's sake.
Esser's not the right guy to test with a less than perfect throw, and that's exactly what that was. So now we've got 1:30 left for Philadelphia to get a break here and maybe even try to get more after.
Wondering how much they'll try to milk the clock, if at all. And they won't get a chance to. That one is a little low for Casey.
Apparently they don't have the skills to milk the clock.
Taylor has it back right up to Chan. Chan connects with Clark.
First stack here, look from Boston.
Cooper to McNaughton. McNaughton had a guy. And he goes to his second option. Some contact, no call. And Chan wants it, but
I think there was significant contact there, but I'm not sure Chan was going to reel that in bounds anyway.
Very close.
I'd like to get a second look at that, but from here, at this point, it looks like there was definitely contact, but not a foul. So I just don't think he was going to come down in bounds.
Philadelphia will send a deep one right away. And Clark comes over rather. And there's some more contact, and this time the player is hurt. That's McCutcheon. And injury timeout is called. And we'll step away as well here. It's 10-7 Philadelphia. Welcome back. Boston in control out of the timeout. Charlie McCutcheon okay. Clark a bigger guy, and now they'll unload downfield, and Boston catching up to it. Clark still a few yards away from the end zone. This one floats up, and Chan, that time he gets it. Reaches up with the left. It was a little bit in front of him still. The way he went up seemed like kind of an awkward angle, but he still got it.
It was a good play by Chan as the disc floated up there. It looked like he was going to get the first opportunity. We've got another timeout here from Boston with 19.5 seconds left.
Here's that play you wanted to see again, though, Dusty. First one to Chan.
So right there, well, okay, so I think there could have been a foul here because it looks like he could have kept that 1 foot in bounds. But then when you see the second one, there was no doubt that Chan was coming down with that once it floated around. He had a better angle at it.
We'll step away, too. Boston comes back with a midfield pull. 10-8 to score. Everybody, welcome back here to Carey Stadium. We just have 19 seconds left to go in the half. Boston will be pulling from midfield when they take the field. 10-8, and looking to potentially get a quick turn on Philadelphia and maybe even have a chance to make it 10-9.
This is a good test for Philadelphia's short-term offense. So what I mean by that is sort of 20 seconds or less to score, to make sure they should be able to develop an offense over that time as opposed to just picking it up and throwing it back down to the other end zone. It'll be interesting to see how they set up. Are they going to run anybody out of the back of the end zone right away? Are they going to set up any sort of crossing cuts? And what will Boston do? Will they come down with a double team of some kind? Will they leave anybody all the way back? Or will they play sort of even with where the last Philadelphia offensive player is?
They still have a timeout, too, so if they do manage to get that quick turn, they can burn it right away, get their offense back out there, and maybe have a couple of seconds there to take a shot at the end zone.
Oh, I always find it engaging the way that time comes into play at the end of quarters, the end of halves, the end of any of these periods, where you have to start thinking on sort of second level, not just what we want to do, but how long we want that to take and what style we want to do that in. I like the decisions it forces on teams and players.
Very different element playing Ultimate with a clock as opposed to just the game to 15 rule.
Yeah, well, I mean, they used to play games to 21, too.
Right.
Those games used to be forever.
So 19.5, that's what we have exactly here on the scoreboard at Carey Stadium. And Foster will attempt the midfield pull. Philadelphia spread out across the line and kind of bunched up there in the middle where they anticipate it potentially touching ground. And it does. It works out for them. They're able to stop it right away. That was Glazer on the stop. Kieranette.
Well, stopping it right away also starts the clock right away.
10 seconds left.
Randolph essentially looking to take one last shot. This one floats up to Kieranette. And he sends a pass right away.
And it's still up.
Oh, it's still up.
That could be a goal.
It's a goal. Who
that
else
was
but
an incredible play.
What a turn of events
and
there for Philadelphia.
It all continued with Kieranette getting the opportunity for the greatest there and throwing it all the way downfield, having it bounce off of a couple players, and then Himalaya dragging his feet for his second or third incredible play of this half.
We might have already just seen the play of the season. Here's Kieranette, the greatest. Throws it up. It's tipped once, tipped twice, and then Maeda just continuing to hang with it, and you see his feet there still inbounds at the end, sliding into the netting of the tennis courts. And wow, what a finish from Philadelphia. That's a momentum swing, Dusty.
That was 3 or 4 different momentum swings all during that one play.
Wow.
Then there was a defender who, if he hadn't tried to block it, it probably wouldn't have tipped all the way up for that final catch.
Absolutely amazing finish there to the first half for Himalaya Maeda. We got to step away and take a breath after that one. It's 11-8 here at halftime.
This is Greg Martin from the Spinners. How's it going, everybody?
Hey, Greg, welcome to the interview.
How's it going?
Doing all right. How are you feeling out here today about the plays that are going down for the Spinners side?
It's been great. The brothers holding up for us. Everything's a lot of fun. The energy is great. Teammates are always throwing out 100% out there. It's a lot of fun.
What would you say is the key thing that has staked you to this lead at halftime of 3 points?
The high energy. Everyone's pushing for every single play. As you can see, that last play we had, everyone's going 100%, every single throw, every single play.
Tell us a little bit about how that last play unfolded from your perspective.
Well, I was on the sideline and seeing out after the last second was out there, every throw had to be made from the air. Worked up the sideline, 3 or 4 guys hit it at the end of the clock, and you see Himmy. He's going out there every play. He's hustling, and that's like his 3rd grab that he had on a layout, and 100% effort. It's awesome.
And he had an excellent D earlier on, and he's had a couple catches.
Yeah, he's
what should we expect to see from you guys in the second half?
The same exact thing. We're putting up the same numbers, 100% effort again, just all around the same score.
Excellent. Thanks for your time here. Good luck in the second half, and we look forward to seeing more from you today.
Thank you. Have a good one.
We'll be right back with you after a little bit of a break here, and we'll see what else we have to look forward to in the second half.
Canterbury, the performance apparel partner to Major League Ultimate. Visit www.canterburyus.com today, the destination for your team's custom uniforms. Canterbury, committed to Ultimate. Do you have a team trip or a corporate outing coming up? If so, make sure you charter a private bus, a minibus, or even a party bus from busrental.com, a U.S. Coachways company. Bus travel, one of the safest, greenest, and most affordable ways to get your group to an event. If you're going with a group, trust busrental.com. Enter coupon code MLUBUS and get additional savings and VIP treatment. Jeff Poster, Dusty Rhodes here at halftime between the Whitecaps and Spinners in Week 1, and that's a pretty exciting first half, Dusty. We saw a little bit of everything.
We saw a little bit of everything specifically from Himalaya Maeda.
Well,
He's got 3 goals. He's got a block. He's got this. So we've got some highlights here. I'm sorry. I was talking over those about how awesome Himalaya's been playing. I'm sure he'll show up here in a bit. And then we see this crossfield pass with all the trust from Christian Foster there.
Thompson with the great sky and grab right there as we look at right now Boston highlights.
When these are right on the edge, this is when Boston was doing pretty well to keep pace with the Spinners.
Hairnet unloading for a long, and there's our guy, Himalaya Maeda.
That was one of those cuts where he was open enough that there was nothing the thrower had to do except just deliver it to him.
Esser with some good concentration there, tipped it to himself.
And coming up looking with eyes for nothing but the end zone.
Yeah, he didn't want to hold on to that disc. Ethan Fortin, one of the new guys here for the Spinners.
This is when Boston was running their zone defense and they ended up with a small covering a big in the end zone.
Radums coming down and tipped there. This one got returned as well. The tip, that was the first big one from Maeda.
That was an excellent block on his part.
He's going to do it again
That's the first tip catch, right? That floaty throw from Sickles I thought was going to make this play dead.
And then the greatest, and it was tipped twice. First by Hirschberger, then Damiano just trying to make the catch. Terry Roth, you see, Boston can't believe it, but Maeda, he was in and got the score. Way to stick with the play.
And that showed the focus from a number of different players. Damiano almost caught that, and then Maeda did catch it after the tip again.
So that's the first half in a nutshell. We'll step away here again. It's 11-8. Spinners on top of the Whitecaps.
The team dynamic is just to have as much fun as possible.
It's an experience, man. You turn around and you look and there's this big giant animal running towards you.
When I first started commentating, it was kind of tough for me because it's like, well, I can be out there too. I can play with these guys. Why am I up here in the booth?
Jeff Grant he's a freaking monster. He can sort of just do it all, you know?
A few of my students were like, we saw you on the bus. I was like, I don't ride the bus. No, you're on the side of the bus.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Carey Stadium at Germantown Academy here at halftime. It's 11-8 our score. The Spinners over the Whitecaps, and an impressive first half for the Philadelphia Spinners. Boston started to make a bit of a run, Dusty, but then they close out and take all that momentum right back on Himalaya Maeda's heroic effort there at the end zone.
That was an effort. It was a heroic effort, to be fair, by all teams involved and all of the players. To make that happen, it took so many different things that you couldn't have predicted.
A shot of our crowd here in the stands. Let's revisit the keys to the game that we talked about before the game and see how effective so far these teams have been. Boston, of course, they're down, but definitely not out.
Right, they're not out, and at this point, we may want to switch it from forgetting about yesterday to remembering that yesterday made anything possible for them. Up to this point, their players have been playing well, but not well enough. It almost seems like they're more comfortable with mistakes today than they needed to be, based on, again, how everything yesterday went. But they've had a couple hiccups here and there. They have the depth to come back in this game, but what they need to do now is get the momentum to build the wave up so that they can ride the wave in the second half here.
On the other side, Philadelphia has done pretty much what they've needed to do. They let Boston back into it a bit. Boston got as close as 2. It was 10-8 just before that great catch by Maeda, but
and they've got a little bit of edge here, a little bit of momentum, a little bit of way going into the second half. And they're showing Boston they can play with them again this season, that it wasn't a fluke over the course of last season. But the thing that they are also showing is that on offense, unless they're relying on tip catches and things like that, they don't necessarily need one player to take over for what Rainwater provided last year. They're relying a little bit more on a different structure than they were last year. So it's not just the handlers running around. It's a little more involvement downfield to the break side, a little more motion and continuation from those players once they get it into their hands. And it looks like a healthier offense on the whole, so they won't have to rely on just one player.
How about the players that we talked about as well before the game? We talked about Tyler Chan for Boston, and he's been a factor.
Right, he's been involved, so he's got about 7 catches or so, and he's got 1 goal. So he's been a part of their offense, but their offense hasn't been entirely healthy over the course of the first half. Although it hasn't been on his shoulders to do necessarily more, they just need to be more consistent and continue using him. He's drawing defensive attention. He's sort of the starter for their offense, but they're missing that other player who's running downfield and creating opportunities both as a thrower and as a receiver.
One guy that could potentially do that, unfortunately, is missing is Misha Sidorsky. Was injured last night in their warm-ups and couldn't get to play. He is with the team but can't play. But on the other side, Billy Sickles, you talked about how Philadelphia is trying to find that answer for losing Jake Rainwater, and he was theoried to be one of the guys, but he's been relatively quiet so far this afternoon. At the very first goal of the game, but other than that.
He's been involved here and there, but again, it's not like they're forcing it through him. They're not trying to make him into the next guy to be every single threat. And is he ready for the role that he's playing? Absolutely. But it's not necessary for him to overplay his hand right now. Philadelphia's playing strong, and they shouldn't be looking for a single player to carry them.
Well, we're going to see if Philadelphia definitely picked up the momentum from the end of that first half. When we come back, 11-8, we should get the first pull of the second half in just a bit.
The team dynamic is just to have as much fun as possible.
It's an experience, man. You turn around and you look and there's this big giant animal running towards you.
When I first started commentating, it was kind of tough for me because it's like, well, I can be out there too. I can play with these guys. Why am I up here in the booth?
Jeff Grant he's a freaking monster. He can sort of just do it all, you know?
A few of my students were like, we saw you on the bus. I was like, I don't ride the bus. No, you're on the side of the bus.
Innova is proud to support Major League Ultimate and its incredible athletes. As the official disc of the MLU, the Innova Pulsar has quickly become the disc of choice at Ultimate's highest level. Visit InnovaDiscs.com to find a dealer near you. Skippy, the official peanut butter of the MLU, made with the funnest peanuts ever. Skippy, yippee!
An excellent job yet again.
Thank you. Love that Skippy peanut butter. So we got an 11-8 score here between the Spinners and the Whitecaps at halftime. If you're just joining us, well, you missed an impressive first half from both teams, really, but Philadelphia capping it off in high-flying action and fun there. And Himalaya Maeda definitely the player of the game thus far.
Yeah, it's been as expected prior to this game, it's been a good matchup in terms of both teams are going out and executing what they mean to execute. The weather hasn't been a hindrance for them.
Right.
And while the other team is providing an obstacle and a challenge, it's not as though one team is overmatched. The Whitecaps are down by 3 right now, but that very easily could have been 2. It could have been 1. But earlier on, we saw
5.
The Spinners could have pushed it out to 5. So this has been a game with a little bit of back and forth, even though the score seems like it's a little bit out of hand.
Again, in a kind of a new twist here, the way the scheduling worked out, both teams, this is actually their second game. I think it's the first time we've had a doubleheader for the two teams in the same weekend that they would both play each other. So by virtue of that, one of these teams will be alone in first place at the end of the day. They both won against DC and New York, Boston and Philadelphia respectively last night.
I think that's a worthy reward for winning 2 games on your back-to-backs. That's not really something we see a lot of, people going for both of those wins on a weekend. And it sets up an interesting way for the other teams to try to catch up to the early leader in the clubhouse.
Boston defeated DC in an exciting finish, 17-16. Philadelphia got Daryl Stanley a taste of the MLU in an impressive fashion with a big blowout 22-12 win over the New York Rumble, who they themselves are trying to find their own identity with 20 new players on their roster. Should be an interesting race here in the Eastern Conference. I think last night we saw from DC, they might be new, but they're definitely still very talented and should hang right in there. with Boston and Philadelphia as right now probably the two favorites in the East.
With the early returns in the East, it looks like New York has such an uphill climb for the rest of the season. The rest of these teams look ready to go out and win, and New York looks like they're going to have to figure out how to win still.
Well, both teams are warming up on the field. Hopefully when we come back, we'll have the first pull of the second half here at halftime. Welcome back to Carey Stadium. We're just about getting set here to start the third quarter and second half of action. Jeff Poster, Dusty Rhodes here for MLU Live. Dusty, we just kind of talked a little about the overarching picture there in the East. The West got started last night as well. San Francisco and Portland. Portland getting revenge, really, over Seattle. A pretty tight game, though. And San Francisco, finally with some consistency on their roster, get off to the 1-0 start, defeating Vancouver.
Yeah, and I got a chance to watch little bits of those games last night, and it's kind of early to say anything, but Portland looks very strong again, and whether the Rainmakers will be able to keep up with them over the course of the season is something we'll see. San Francisco looks like they're collected. It looks like they're prepared for the season, and Vancouver looks like a team that has to find their way. So in both the East and the West, both conferences was the word I was looking for there, it looks like we've got one team that is clearly behind the other three and possibly one team that's leading the pack. In this case, if Philadelphia holds what they're doing so far in this game, they'll be the team to chase in the East this year. And in the West, if Portland maintains its level of play from the last two seasons and what they've shown thus far this season, they'll be the team to chase in the West.
Notable, too, we should mention both Boston and Philadelphia. We've kind of touched on it briefly. We mentioned that Misha Sidorsky did not play here. Frederick Braz, a former spinner, not playing for the Whitecaps this weekend. We haven't seen Jared Inselman as well. Jack Hatchett, the former Defensive Player of the Year from 2 seasons ago, absent. Eric Stevens and Sam Kitrow-Schnell missing for the Whitecaps. Philadelphia missing Dave Baer, who's a very big key cog in their offense over the last few years. He's out there with them, but he's just not playing.
Yeah, the rumor was it was a little tweaky hamstring sort of issue, the sort of thing that you don't want to let linger throughout the season. You want to take care of earlier on and be strong for the rest of the way. But I think we're getting a pretty good representation of both these teams.
Both teams still their core here. Boston takes full advantage of the roster limit size, and they learned that, I guess, Sam Rosenthal said after that first year he had coaching in 2014 where he felt like he was always having to string together bodies just to get on the field because they dealt with so many injuries.
Yep.
He's like, I'm going to fill this roster and never have to worry about getting players on the field.
I remember looking at those injury reports that year, and it was just an absurd list of names. It was almost as though there were more of them than there were actually on the squad.
And the Whitecaps will be pulling here right to left to start off. Christian Foster set to go. Referees give the signal, and we are underway here in the second half. Foster right to left pull.
That's a fantastic pull to start.
Very good, and wind has died down here a bit. The sun is creeping more towards us, which we're thankful for.
Warmer and warmer.
Exactly. There's Brandolph. Quickly up to Panna. Pana's been very good in this game. Sickles drops it off right for Hiernett, and Hiernett looking for the gain player here, Himalaya Meta, who reaches up, and that time, even despite Meta's size, just off his fingertips.
He kind of went up a little too early there. He could have waited just a split second and had an inch lower disc to be coming down with. Instead, he ended up sort of sitting on top of a Boston player that he wasn't really prepared to find underneath him.
I believe that was Foster, too, so definite height advantage there for Meta. And
All right, let's go defense.
said maybe wait another second and you'd have a goal.
Well, I think a whole second would have been too long.
Foster unloads, and Sickles skies up and intercepts that one for the D.
A good position by Sickles, but it was really just a subpar throw to me in the defender's airspace to begin with.
Brandolph on the far side. Sends a hammer over the top of everybody. Sickles is there, and he leaps up and makes the catch, and then he's got a wide open, of course, Himalaya Meta gets the goal. So it just picks up right where it left off, but Sickles with the great grab of Brandolph's hammer.
It's good to have sticky-fingered receivers up there pulling things down for you, as Sickles did there on this hammer. That wasn't such an easy catch, and he went up to find it as soon as he could. But the space was the correct space. If he had gotten this hammer all the way over to the other side, it would have been easier.
Right,
then, of course,
Rob Baker.
We've got Maeda scoring so many goals here that he's starting to rush through his celebrations a little bit. I'm not really a fan. I think you got to stick with the act if you're going to go through it on every single score.
That's his fourth of the afternoon.
So now we'll see what Boston has to start off this second half. They just need to keep pace with the Spinners right now, put in their own goal. Ideally, it'll be a short one so they can get back out there on defense. Defense is the way you make comebacks. Offense is the way you lose games.
As we learned yesterday with that New York-Philadelphia game, they both had the same amount of holds. New York didn't have a break. So there you go. Your defense will win you games. Here's Halkyard. Chan.
Boston using sort of a spread here. It's not exactly a horizontal. They're well spaced across the field, but it's not clearly defined.
Clark gets it up to McNaughton. A good cut. They shake off Halkyard, though, and they'll drop it back and try to swing it to the other side. Or maybe not. There it is. A little bit of contact, though. Catch is made. And we are going to get a foul as Cooper got hit from behind.
Yeah, not a lot you can do there.
With the contact.
He had just enough of a play on the disc that it's a reasonable play for him to make, but the contact is true. There should be a foul called there. And now we get the easy score for the very, very fast Piers McNaughton in the end zone. He's not somebody I'd have any chance of chasing to the cone or beating to the cone, for that matter.
To see everybody in the league's 40 time, and if McNaughton's got to be up there across the league.
Certainly up there. And unlike in basketball, there's no equivalent to dribbling while you run. So there's that thing where some basketball players seem like they're almost faster with the ball than without the ball. In Ultimate, you don't really have that answer. You're really just chasing the disc.
Just go. And he
now,
can go.
Knowing when to start and knowing where you're going to, those are separate things.
Again, he's another guy that could be a big factor for Boston this year. Missed time the last 2 seasons with various injuries and is here from the get-go. Boston draws a lot of talent out of Tufts University. I believe once again they could field an entire line of Tufts alum.
Here's the pull.
And McNaughton is one of them.
Pull's got some loft to it. Getting down pretty well on defense here is Boston.
Hiernett collects the pull. He's looking for Pana. He's got him.
Philadelphia in a horizontal look here.
Right up to Sickles. Sickles trying to get around Jordan Taylor. Drops it back. Brandolph, Sickles again. Katzen back.
Spinners are still doing well downfield, creating separation. It's as though the throwers have their option of which choice they want downfield.
Pana again. Very patient here are the Spinners. Look, just continuing to swing side to side. Home and away. Hiernett trying to get around Katz. He's stalled. gonna say, it's got to be coming, right?
There's a little bit of a complaint down there from the Spinners who one of their cutters hit the ground at some point, so they may have been looking for a defensive foul. But the fact remains, wasn't called. Boston Whitecaps have the opportunity for a break now.
Edmonds starts it off for the Whitecaps. Cats.
Miscommunication there on defense from the Spinners. Wide open player on the open side. Now another good cut to the open side.
That's Davis Whitehead. Whitehead having some trouble getting rid of it. Able to dump it back. Boston swinging it towards home. And we have a whistle away from the disc, a pick against Boston, so they'll wipe off the goal, and they'll have to go back 10 yards.
It looks like they were involved here.
Hirschberger shrugging his shoulders, like, where was the pick? I didn't see a pick. They'll still have the disc, but just have it 10 yards deeper. Banerjee with control here. Katzenbach on the mark.
Still in a full 6-person vertical stack.
Banerjee swings it over to DJ DeBois.
Good read there by Sickles to make a play on that. Not quite enough to get there.
Hirschberger up to Banerjee.
Looking to the break. Yep.
Adrian puts up a hammer. He's got a man wide open. If he can track it down, he does. And Ben Katz. It's the 10th of the afternoon for Boston.
And that was a nice break for them, not only just to get the goal, but as their offense worked through the end zone and the defenders had to respect both sides, eventually they were in a situation where Nick Hironet sort of got a little too far away on the break side, and they launched this hammer to the far. It wasn't a perfect throw, but the defender wasn't within 15 yards really either.
Cat's pretty pumped up after that one. You see him headed back to the sideline. He kind of gets I'd say a pseudo bookend. He forced the stall on Hironet, and then at least on the mark. That's a team effort, as the coverage is all there as well.
Yeah, there aren't that many stalls on the whole, so that must mean that Philadelphia was expecting something a little bit different from their offense, and they still were trusting, or there's a miscommunication downfield, or we saw that somebody may have just fallen over or slipped or been pushed, something along those lines. But this puts a little more pressure on Philadelphia now. I expect to see a nice deep pull here from Boston, and we need to see what Philadelphia is going to do to answer.
Foster with the pull. It's back to a 2-goal game. 5:43 left. Philly sending their D-line out there after the long point.
Boston is still doing this free safety bit where they hang someone back to stop the early deep shot.
Bryant got it up to Roman, who finds Chow. And, a little bobble there. Bryant recovers. I think he was looking ahead to the next play before securing the disc. Patel.
It's not seeming easy for Philadelphia
travel.
right now.
So with the new ruling, the travel is not a turnover. It's just a 10-yard penalty.
Yeah, I still don't like that. If you're traveling out there, you should pay the consequences for it. But we're going to move him back here a little bit, and we'll see how this goes.
Damiano has it now. Chow. Caught that one up by his face. Here's Esser.
Interesting. It took him a little while to look over to the break side. If he had looked break side earlier, it could have been a much more advantageous gain. Could have been a goal already.
Bryant now double-teamed.
It's good defense from Boston.
Boston drops. They drop it back to Patel. It's a man down for Boston. Slow to get up. And that allows Philadelphia to take advantage and put it in.
Yeah, it's that scenario where with refs, you don't actually get that call right away, even if you've been bumped into. It looked like it went both ways there. So an earlier, we can see him on the ground there. Not entirely sure what happened. Maybe got a shoulder, maybe got an elbow, something like that. Doesn't mean that there was any intent. It just means that a player was down for a little bit there. We saw that Philadelphia had the benefit of, or Philadelphia got the other end of that earlier when one of their players on defense was just sort of on the ground while Boston had the disc.
We see Coach Rosenthal getting an explanation from the referees. Maybe he was also looking for the contact. Martin ends up getting the score. He's even talking to Isaiah Bryant right now. A couple of friends, though.
Well, you got to talk through and figure out what happened at least, and you want to make sure that you're not establishing that that's how we're going to play the game. The players have to control the culture. It's not just up to the referees to be in charge of that.
Philadelphia gets it back up to 3. is the difference here. Boston hasn't really been able to get much closer than 2 or 3. It's been a while since it's been a 1-goal game.
Philly's down in a bit of a 3-3-1 zone here. Look to start.
Thompson finds Cooper, backs up, lets the disc come to him, and then I don't know what that was, but Halkyard.
The throw was off target, and the receiver reached down casually with one hand. You get the combined two, and it doesn't turn out that well.
This is a big opportunity here for Philadelphia to push it back up. Colton finds Peck. And Peck trying to get around the defense, drops it back. Colton has to track it down as it sailed on him a little bit.
It's a well-placed throw, really. It gave the receiver an option as to when he wanted to take that and move upfield.
Fortin to McCutcheon, and a big layout D there from Boston.
It's a nice block there.
Nick Thompson, he's taken off too.
It was just kind of when Philadelphia was settling into a rhythm offensively, and that's actually what leads into blocks a lot, is when you're sort of doing it mindlessly and settling into a rhythm.
McNaughton finds Chan. Chan will swing it. Little continues to swing to the away side. Now they're looking for McNaughton downfield, and he lays out and he makes the one-handed grab. What a big catch there by Piers McNaughton.
It's a good play there from Boston on the whole. The issue for Philly is that they just didn't get enough pressure when they needed it throughout that point on defense. Once Boston got the disc, they were in control the rest of the way. And this is all due to that play up through the center. This is an excellent catch. Held on to it all the way through. He was out in that leading edge. Well, you know, it all depends on which sport you played first. If you played baseball before you played one of these other sports, you're used to catching with your left hand. But in this situation, if he'd been running the other direction and had been coming from the backhand side, he would have reached out and caught it with his right hand. So it's a scenario where only one of your hands is going to be able to reach out and catch it. You better be proficient with both sides.
Matt Little gets the assist. McNaughton, his second goal of the game. Got the first one here in the third quarter for the Whitecaps. This is a desperate time for Boston to get a break here. Can't continue to trade points with Philadelphia.
Be good to get out of this quarter with one more break. The wind is picking up a little bit here from the left to the right, as well as from the far side of the field down toward us. This pull didn't really take advantage of it, but might be a missed opportunity, although the wind is more against Philly right now than with.
Boston still gets down pretty quick. They find Sickles at midfield. Maeda.
Working out of a vertical stack look here.
And that one is not caught that time on the second diving attempt by a Philadelphia player. It was Pana on the second chance there, and I think it went through Katzenbach's hands.
There's a lot of pressure on Katzenbach's back from his defender.
Hooker with some space now after he fakes the big huck. Edmonds has to run through to get that one. Glazer coming over on the mark.
The wind is coming more toward us right now. Boston's been doing a good job to patiently work up against this Philadelphia defense, who's looking a little bit ragged. If Boston can keep their foot on it right now, keep in control, they're going to get this break.
Terry Roth on the near side. Roth, Edmonds gets it. Edmonds, he's got Victor Lua wide open. Victor.
Here's the moment.
And there's the open man. Find some space.
I think there may have been an offensive foul first. Yeah.
We had two whistles go off simultaneously, one for a score, one for a foul.
It was a pick back here behind the disc on the part of Hurskey. It looked like just shouldered somebody out of the way. So they should lose 10 yards here, and it won't be a goal.
Edmonds seemed to have found his way through the crowd, no problem.
Yeah, I don't think it was on him. I think it was away from the play a little bit.
Lua swings it back.
Physical play at the top of the stack here between Katzenbach and his player.
Oh, what a catch by Doherty. Not into the end zone, but he beats Meta, who's been hard to beat today.
I thought that was an opportunity for a block there.
Hurskey going low, the sliding grab, and Boston gets the break. And a backflip from Terry Roth on the score.
Bringing it within one there. That's a big execution play there from Boston's team. It looks like Philadelphia is going to be bringing in some subs for their O-line, possibly bringing in an entire D-line. This is the time where Boston has to try to tag on another break. Maybe this team that comes out isn't ready for what they've been doing defensively. Maybe they have a little change-up. Maybe they can force them into a tough spot.
So it's now 13-12, 1:45 left to go in the third. Boston trying to swing the momentum back in their favor. The tall task of going 2-0 on the road to open up your season. Philadelphia is also playing 2 games, but at least they have the benefit of being home for one of them. And they didn't have to travel quite too far to go to New York.
That also means there's more of a reward sitting out there for Boston because it's 2-0 on the road.
Where historically, while they've been very good overall, historically they're 8-6 coming into the weekend on the road. So there have been some struggles.
Oh, this is a nice pull from Foster as well.
Very high, will hang up there.
Some good coverage, but not great coverage on D. Stop the first throw. This is tough.
Chow trying to get rid of it. Chow off balance a little bit and finally gets rid of it. He'll hang up. Damiano catches up to it towards the back of his own end zone. Connects up ahead to Roman.
Well, Philadelphia's going to have to put in some work on this point.
And they will unload here. Can Esser catch up to it? No.
Not an easy player to overthrow. Chow put a lot of outside in on that disc. It needed to be a little bit flatter just so it would float a couple extra moments. Boston puts this break in. Boston may have control of this game the rest of the way.
Opportunity to tie it up here. And contact.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is with travels not being a turnover, you can kind of beg for that call a little bit more, and you won't have to give up the disc if you run into your mark.
A little scuba, and it's right to Patel. Are we getting more contact, though, as Clark made the throw? And he appears to be getting the disc back. Looks like it. Vince Radums there on the mark.
Clock is stopped here for a little bit. We like that while this discussion's going on. Make sure we get this right.
Backs. Well, the way they signal that, it kind of doesn't even. Well, Patel gets it anyway. You got to think if Boston causes a foul but then throws it away, why do they even get the disc back?
It's such a routine look from Philadelphia there. It's so predictable. I mean, from Boston there, it's so predictable.
Now the referees are kind of all over the place. We saw one here on the side just signal a travel. There was a massive collision there right on the 10-yard line. And we're getting a band.
It looks like the coach has been banned here or given a card here for Philadelphia. Came out onto the field to protest something. There was a Boston player pointing at a spot on the field here. The refs need to establish control and let us know what we're doing next.
I'm going to back Philadelphia back. No, it's going to be Boston. Boston is here. Take a look again. This is... Well, we're back to live. We'll try and get a look at that one again. Sort things out here when we get a chance.
Clock will get restarted here once the disc comes into play. We're going to have 36 seconds left.
Well, Daryl Stanley making his presence known. Boston throws it away immediately.
And
Whitehead can't catch up to it.
Philadelphia needs to stay in control for 30 seconds and get a goal.
Damiano gets it back to Patel. Very close there. Peck ends up beating, I believe, Jordan Taylor. More contact, but the catch reeled in by Radums over Clark. Here's Esser. 12 seconds left. Radums and Esser, two-man game.
They need
here.
to make some space. It looks like Peck's the throw right now.
Radums is going to get it back on the hammer from Esser. He'll send it into the end zone. Baker looking to key it up for Boston. There's a bunch of collisions there at the end zone, and Boston holds on to keep Philadelphia from scoring. They cut into the lead a little bit here to close out the third, and it's 13-12.
That last point told a lot of things there. There's just so much to talk about there. We'll get back to it when we come back after this break. But that should have been a goal for one of the two teams, and Philadelphia rushed their chance there at the end.
Don't go anywhere. Huge fourth coming up.
That was an incredible game to watch.
It was a huge loss.
I just decided to launch and try to get it.
I knew if I went up early enough, I could get it.
And all of a sudden, there are feet kind of above heads.
Does it all come back to this loss? Does it all come back to this play?
If I had four hands, I would put all four hands on it.
It was up the other line. They had to deliver.
Boston kept doing this thing that you didn't think was possible.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Carey Stadium at Germantown Academy. Jeff Poster, Dusty Rhodes here with you on ML Live. As we get set to start the fourth, it's 13-12 Philadelphia. And appropriate that we see a shot of our referees there as we come back into this one. And that was a kind of a wild finish there. There appeared to be offensive fouls. Daryl Stanley got a little talking to and a penalty there for going onto the field to argue a call. And it ended up being Boston's disc. They throw it away immediately after all
on
the
first pass
craziness.
for the second consecutive possession, throwing it away on the first pass.
And then they end up holding on defensively and keep Philadelphia out of the end zone. So we remain at 13-12.
It's just a series of errors by both teams there that led to a scoreless last point. The opportunities now that we'll have to figure out which of these teams is better over the last 10 minutes. That should be pretty exciting, but at this point, it's been more a game of errors than it has been of great plays. Yes, Himalaya Maeda on his own has made a bunch of great plays, but on the whole, I mean, one of those was a point block. There shouldn't have been a point block for him to be catching in the first place. The second one was a lofted throw into a greatest that was tipped 3 or 4 times that he laid out for. And the block that he got was a bad throw to begin with. So it's this scenario where we're missing plays, and then we're having other players make up for it. If one of these two teams plays a very clean fourth quarter, they'll be in good shape to win. Or if one of these two teams plays a particularly sloppy fourth quarter, they'll be in position to lose.
Boston outscored Philadelphia 4-2 in that third quarter. It's the first time they've managed to outscore Philadelphia. Spinners really ballooned their lead up there back in the first when they led that quarter 7-4 at the end. They had an opportunity to be up 8-4 before getting Boston an opportunity to score at the last second. They played even in the second quarter, and there in the third, Boston got an opportunity finally for a couple of breaks. And we'll see how they handle here. I'm sure we'll see the midfield pulls come back as the timeouts get used here in the fourth quarter. We go in on Boston's huddle.
Turn it into as much of a coach's game as you do a player's game at some point. It's always interesting to see the balance in that between different sports. I'm more a fan of the soccer thing where you get no timeouts, no rest, nothing. You got to go from beginning to end in each half. Not this basketball stuff where you have so many timeouts at the end of the quarters, at the end of the halves.
Exactly.
You got to foul people and make them go to the line and wait for that. I love basketball, but you're killing me with these timeouts.
Well, Boston's going to get the disc here to start, so it's a pretty good position for them to be in and potentially tie things up at 13.
Yep. Draw it up pretty well. This is the way you want your fourth quarter to go. Be 1 point away, maybe tie, have it close. We'll see how this one shakes out. The wind is now coming mostly toward us, but actually a little bit right to left as well, which is a reversal from earlier. It may change a little bit of the dynamics in this game, but it shouldn't have too much of an effect. It just changes which throws are easy and which throws give you a little more motion.
Ethan Fortin on the pull here for Philadelphia. Jake Taylor will reel it in. Already decent way up the field after the pull on one throw.
Philadelphia pretty much in a straight man defense here. Boston taking advantage of it pretty well.
Hartwigger on the far side. They had McNaughton deep and then came back under, now going out again. And that one trying to thread it into Tyler Chan. Very good defense played on him, though.
It's pretty tight space over there. It looked like there might have been a little bit of contact there by McCutcheon, but I don't think it was enough to necessitate a foul.
And then Philadelphia gives it right back.
And again, just don't lie. You get it right back.
And almost the exact same spot where Boston made that last throw from. This time it'll be Taylor, though, to pick it up. Taylor trying to get around that mark of O'Connor.
McNaughton was working pretty hard there in the lane, but it was a 3 or 4 juke cut.
Hartwigger gets it over to Little. Little looking to put it into the end zone, and he does. And Boston has tied it up here as Thalen gets the score. And we're all knotted up. We'll start over at 13.
It's good work by Boston to be patient on the offense there near the end zone to get over to the soft side of the defense with this swing, and then to recognize that there was a space through the defense here as opposed to just always trying to get all the way around to the other side. Seeing that moment where it opens up, and none of the Philadelphia players were heads up enough to give a little bit of help through that lane.
Timeout. Boston, so there it is. The midfield pulls are going to come in right away here in the fourth quarter.
You want to see if Philadelphia is ready to answer the questions you're going to ask of them offensively.
We'll step away as well. We're all tied up with 8:56 left to go. Don't go anywhere. The fourth quarter is just getting started.
That was an incredible game to watch.
It was a huge loss.
I just decided to launch and try to get it.
I knew if I went up early enough, I could get it.
And all of a sudden, there are feet kind of above heads.
Does it all come back to this loss? Does it all come back to this play?
If I had 4 hands, I would put all 4 hands on the ball.
It was up the O-line. They had to deliver.
Boston kept doing this thing that you didn't think was possible.
Welcome back to Carey Stadium as we look in on the Philadelphia huddle. And going to have their work cut out for them here with Boston pulling from midfield after the timeout expires. And still up a break, of course, but Boston has climbed back into this one. Whitecaps have never led. Well, that was the same story last night for the Whitecaps against DC. Their only lead ended up being the winning score.
As we can see there, we had Foster sort of talking about what the defense is going to do here for the Whitecaps. We had Dave Brandolph in charge with the Spinners huddle right now. This is the moments where it's not just up to the coaches to lead these teams, it's up to the players as well. So they're talking about what they want to see specifically. A lot of times in the case of a thrower like Brandolph, in the case of Foster, a lot of times you're talking about is how you want to get down on the pull and how you want to apply pressure really early. So you're talking about the spaces that you want to look at as a team. So you have communal vision as opposed to individual visions working.
Well, Dave Brandolph, a coach in his own right, so you've got a coach out there on the field. That's a luxury to have there.
You find that with a lot of players who play high-level Ultimate is that they're giving back and they're trying to learn about the sport as well by coaching. It's not just the thing that you do for the players. You're also doing it for yourself to improve your own knowledge and your way of dealing with imparting that knowledge to others.
So Boston set to go here from midfield. Christian Foster will pull as expected.
That first one that he pulled down here to our right side was excellent. The one that he went up this way was a little bit lower, but again, I feel like they were trying to start the clock. I expect this one to land pretty close to the back line.
Kind of rolls out the side, but
that's excellent.
Very, very deep still. Pana will pick it up and start.
You can make an argument the sideline's a little tougher than the end zone is.
Connects with Meta. Meta will air it up here. Luo trying to track down for Boston and gets over just enough. That looked like it went off of Glazer's hands himself. I don't know if Luo actually hit it, but
it was a pretty good positioning battle there between Luo and Glazer. I like the way that they were sort of jockeying for position pretty evenly.
This one hangs up in the air, and going over everybody was Brandolph, who's not the biggest guy.
No, but people have been saying that about him in various sports for years. He played basketball at a level that he played at. You got to be able to get off the ground a little.
Pana's got it again up to Haranet. Haranet connects with Brandolph. Brandolph looking to dump it back. There it is. Katzenbach. Pana again. Sickles, nice little one-handed grab.
Very casually done.
Now he'll send it towards the end zone looking for Meta, and he's got it. Philadelphia holds on here, gets the lead back.
And they're doing a good enough job there, even though they had some hiccups over that point. They did a good job of eventually calming down and doing the solid work here after Brendolf gets this excellently timed jump up in the backfield.
And then what a throw there by Billy Sickles.
Indeed. It was all the way across the field, and Maeda's cut was about a 40-yard cut cross field. So to be able to have the confidence that you're going to put it up in the same spot and have him run onto it, that's a very good work by Sickles and very good showing out trust in his teammate that he won't get skied for that.
We got a timeout on the field. We'll take it to, it's Philadelphia 14, Boston 13, 7:51 left to go in the game. Welcome back to Carey Stadium as we're looking in on the Boston huddle. It's 14-13. The Whitecaps still trying to take that elusive lead, and they have been burned several times here today by Himalaya Maeda. That was his 5th goal of the game.
He's been doing work all over the field, getting blocks, chasing things down, staying focused, getting his teammates excited. When we heard that interview at halftime, the way he was excited about Maeda's commitment to the game and his full effort, that's exactly what you want to see, and that's what sort of helps these players get up for every single run, every single cut, every single throw.
So Philadelphia is going to pull from midfield. Leon Chow will do the honors. It's an important possession for Boston with 7:51 left to go. Both teams now with 2 timeouts left.
I'm sorry, I was a little distracted there. Dizzy, the mascot, has had a breakdancing accident here in the front row.
Spinners are putting on a show here with
That's
the
a
entertainment.
nice pull to the back corner of the end zone there. A little bit softer, but I like the way it landed and challenged Boston to catch it.
Come on, defense. Make some noise, Spinners fans.
Cooper airs it out. This is going to be tough for anyone to get to, and Philadelphia takes it away. McCutcheon over Chan.
It's good
Boston
positional
bids.
defense there by McCutcheon. Good to go up early. If he hadn't, Chan would have got that.
Contact between Nick Thompson and Bryce Dunn.
Yeah, a little bit of tripping all over the place here and there. A little physical to start. Nothing intended by it.
Yeah, they just
Being
got tangled.
Yeah, and they're being a little picky about this restart here. I'd like to see that open up a little bit more like soccer.
Peck will send an OI flick out and into the end zone, and all of a sudden Philadelphia's got it back up to a 2-goal lead. Mike Acarda.
So earlier we were talking about how open Maeda has been getting on a bunch of his cuts, which makes it easy for the thrower. In this situation, the receiver wasn't really open. The throw that was taken here by Peck threw him open.
This is the defensive move by McCutcheon to take it away from Chan, who he had much better
You
position.
see the recognition of he can just put it out to space all the way over there. The receiver wasn't even cutting at that point. It's just the throw is well placed enough that Taylor has no chance to get that block.
Boston's still searching for answers right now. Sometimes it's teams trying to crawl back in the whole game. Can they ever actually get over that hump? It's so hard a lot of times, and we'll see if Boston, they were able to tie it up. Can they do it again? Now, again, back down 2, 15-13.
And another thing that Philadelphia just did there was that wasn't their usual D-line that went out and got that break.
Yeah.
That was a handful of other players who had not been playing as much previous. Now they can put their other defenders back out and see where that gets them.
We said Bryce Dunn and Acarda, 2 names I don't think we had said yet at all today, involved in that point.
That's using your depth appropriately.
Foster has it here for Boston as they've got a hybrid line out there. Hirschberger in stride makes the catch. McNaughton has some separation downfield away from Patel. Not enough, and then we've got a foul anyway against Philadelphia. O'Connor, I believe, with some contact there against Hirschberger.
Yep.
Hirsch trying to find an angle. Cats Low throw. Nice dig out there by Foster.
This is as rough as it gets for Boston's end zone offense for the most part.
Foster will hang one up just as the wind picks up two, and skying up for the grab. That's Hulkyard.
Did a very good job of reading that play and making enough space for himself to get into that area.
Nearly threw it away right after.
Boston's got to stay calm here. They're going to get a look if they keep it maintaining possession.
Another whistle. This against Philadelphia again, so almost everyone into the end zone here in the stack. Shakes off the first option, and the second is there. Hartwiger, very close. Bryant, I believe, was right there with him.
Yeah, he was step for step all the way through there to the goal, and what we saw during that goal line stand there from Philadelphia was very good defense. They were fighting for every step on all of the players, not just the one who just scored.
This is the sky here by Hulkyard, who wasn't even the intended receiver. Just elevates over everybody, and then Clark.
And Bryant is right there. Now we've got a timeout on the field called here by Boston.
So they're going to use that midfield pull again. Hope for results that they had in the first half when it ended up working out for them. We'll step away as well. 15-14. Boston trying to tie it up when we come back.
The team dynamic is just to have as much fun as possible.
It's an experience, man. You turn around and you look and there's this big giant animal running towards you.
When I first started commentating, it was kind of tough for me because it's like, well, I can be out there too. I can play with these guys. Why am I up here in the booth?
Jeff Grant he's a freaking monster. He can sort of just do it all, you know?
A few of my students were like, we saw you on the bus. I was like, I don't ride the bus. No, you're on the side of the bus.
Welcome back to Carey Stadium as Boston D-line gets set for another midfield pull from Christian Foster. And Philadelphia just looking to keep their offense moving the way that it has and shut the doors on Boston and stay at home here with a 2-0 record to start the season. Can't ask for much better than that.
Yeah, and we really can't ask for much better than we've seen from this game today on the whole. It's been an entertaining back and forth thus far, even though Boston hasn't really been in control at any point. They've been keeping up the fight, and with 5 minutes and 30 seconds left, they've got more than enough time to come back into this game. No matter what happens on this point, this game is still alive.
It's a big possession for both teams. Philadelphia just trying to maintain pace here, keep Boston off the board. Whitecaps desperate for another break, just to tie again. As I said earlier, see it all the time in sports. Any different sport, teams work so hard when they're down big to fight their way back into it. Do they have enough to overcome the hump, take the lead, and hold on? Whitecaps did it last night. Can they do it again?
Don't forget, you buy a ticket today, you get a discount. Next game is April 24th.
I wonder if they're going to be doing anything different here offensively or defensively. It should just be a pretty standard sort of pull here from Foster. They haven't really been mixing it up much, except for that one where they wanted to get the clock started a little faster. All of these midfield pulls have been to the back corner, maybe a little bit off from the actual corner itself to give you a little play either way so it doesn't go out too early. And then you sort of really try to play underneath and make them throw something either all the way over the top or something underneath that you can run into and get a chance at a Callahan. We haven't seen one of those come out yet, but that could be another way, of course, to change this game around.
Oh, Callahan throws everything out the window.
That's like you go for a safety in football. You got to try to change the tide a little bit.
Foster lets loose, and this is a very good one. Rolls right out the back. Hairnet will track it down, tap it in. Here we go. Boston trying to keep Philadelphia from getting out of their own end zone. And Hairnet will just uncork, send this one downfield, and a nice, good positioning there by Sickles to get around Baker.
Philadelphia used the aggressiveness of Boston's defense against them. They had all those defenders committed underneath, and Sickles was one-on-one downfield. All Hiernett had to do was find the right space to toss it to.
Maeda has to catch that one below his knees, and that's a beautiful put there from Maeda. This time he throws the goal, and Billy Sickles has not scored since the first one of the game. Gets one back.
Yet again, it's Himalaya Maeda everywhere in this game. In that case, he's pulling it down and throwing the assist. In the other cases, he's been coming down with the blocks. And here's that big rip downfield to Sickles, who comes down with it against a one-on-one look. And here he is again, beating the same defender, this time by 5 yards.
Now Philadelphia use their second timeout. Try the midfield pull themselves. So we'll step away once again with 5:06 left to go. 16-14 the score. Taking back to Carey Stadium. Philadelphia prepping for their midfield pull using their second timeout. Getting a very good score there from Billy Sickles on the last possession. So the result of Nick Hiernett just not wasting any time off the midfield pull from the back of the end zone and just launching it. Not going to take any chances, just get it out of there.
And he did a really good job of keeping the nose of the disc down, so he threw it out ahead of him as opposed to trying to throw it up. He's just throwing a little bit into the wind. And it's one of those oft-repeated things in Frisbee is everybody wants to see you throw out. Nobody wants to see you throw up. Did an excellent job of maintaining edge discipline on that throw.
He's been doing it for years here in Philadelphia, Nick Hiernett.
5 minutes, 2-point game. Ready, each team's got one timeout left.
If you're Boston, you got to be thinking about the clock here, because not only you need 3 scores to take a lead, which would be right in line with their score last night where they won 17-16. There was a 4-0 run to get that one last night. I'd have to do a 3-0 run here.
Get a pair of friction gloves, frictiongloves.com. You got gloves, you got shoes, you need socks.
Next week, Boston will head down to New York. Philadelphia will head down to D.C. Dusty, you'll be down in D.C. covering that game.
Yep.
I will be in New York covering that one. But, of course, as the new feature this season, every game is live. We'll have you covered all season long.
We have to make some tough choices. Do they want to listen to me or do they want to listen to you?
We're separated. It's been a while. We have not been separated in some time.
I won't know how to deal with it. I'll be all confused, asking what I'm supposed to say next.
We're spreading out the talent this season with every game being live. Got to make do. Be joined by Tony Leonardo in New York next week.
Looks like we've got Leon pulling this, so it'll be a left-handed pull coming in with always the incorrect spin.
A lot of space there. You see 2 guys from Boston on the far side, a big gap before the next 5 have their equal spacing, but an open hole there, maybe for Leon to aim.
Starting to look like an onside kick for football.
Nice stop there for Boston.
I'm not sure he caught that.
It's very close.
Shielded it from a little bit of vision for the rest of us.
He picked it up and threw it right away, so there wouldn't be any second guesses either. Cooper gets it back to Taylor. Very close there for Jay Clark. Has it again here.
Good effort there from Esser.
And then Esser, maybe not too happy with the result of both the pull and then that catch.
He's just trying to get it back across to set the mark. It's unlucky that it was right when the windup was happening, but the thrower didn't seem too upset, so maybe he wasn't throwing it anyway. It was just sort of a fake.
Fallon juking around, gets it to Chan. Chan floats one up. Cooper tipped it to himself.
Good second catch.
Taylor has it now. Chow on the mark here. Taylor trying to find something. This one in space and leaping in to the end zone is Alex Cooper. That was two defenders.
It was a very, very dangerous moment for everybody involved. It's that up line cut where the disc sails a little bit, and the defender here in this, well, we'll see this here. This defender here, Esser in this case, makes the decision not to go through that and possibly clean out 2 players. That's that cut that it always makes me tense every single time I see it happen.
Especially a guy like Esser, too, definitely has the ability to just, with his size, he can take out more than 1 player, like you said, was possible.
I got to play with him for a little bit on an indoor team, and he sort of ran through me at some point in an attempt to chase down the disc that we were both after.
I don't envy you on that one.
No, I can still feel it. I'm just a little guy. He's got a lot of power, a lot of speed, and I'm just out there trying to make the rest of the game happen. He's out there trying to make plays.
The real question with Matt Esser, is he going to give American Ninja Warrior another shot?
I can't imagine that he wouldn't. I'd be down to see him try again. Gotta get a little more nimble, be ready for that first challenge. Such an entertaining game show,
That's much later on in the summer, as we're still here in the early spring. And Banerjee gets that pull downfield right through Brandolph's legs.
Not quite cleanly fielded.
Gives Boston an extra second to get down there. They're going to shy off of Pana a bit.
We've been doing that a lot, having either a sagging mark or an extra help defender deep early on in these points.
Back to Pana. Brandolph.
Good catch by Brandolph.
Box out, too. A bid defensively. Wow. I thought that'd be a foul on Doherty.
It certainly looked dangerous.
Oh, there it is calling. It looked like the referee was signaling initially that the disc was going that way.
Yeah, it looked that he was signaling the other direction. That may have just been an instinctual error.
Signaling that it's a foul on Boston. So Doherty gets called for the foul, and Sickles will pick it up 10 yards closer. Katzenbach here on the home side of the field, up to Pana. Philadelphia moving well. Pana, that one will hang in the air and give Nick Haranet all kinds of time, and he goes in for the score.
There was so much space over there and not a defender anywhere to do anything about it. The ability to create that much space is the first step of scoring that goal. The second step is Pana having the confidence in his own throws to just put it all the way out across to the other side of the field. That's about a 50-yard cross-field throw, kind of into the wind, to a receiver who, while Nick Haranet is more than competent as a receiver, he's not 6'5", so he's not a giant that you want to float the disc up to. You want to hit him right in stride or right in his chest with it. And Pana did exactly what was necessary to do it. Surprising that there was no Boston defender anywhere in that zip code.
Pana with his 4th assist of the game. He's done a nice job moving the disc today. And throwing goals, I should say.
I like the role that he's filling this year. It looks like that's going to be a space that they're going to use him more in this year, as opposed to the previous years where he's been trying to fill that role on the defensive side. Yeah. But when you do it offensively, you naturally get more touches on the disc. And we're seeing his skill manifest itself well today.
Well, it'll be interesting to see when Dave Bear comes back into the fold, if maybe it's possible Pana's just filling that role today. They're hoping to be back next weekend.
Dropping into this 3-3-1 zone here to start again from Philadelphia.
Taylor having trouble getting rid of it. Drops it back for Little. Patel tried to lay out and get it to him. Little now having some trouble. Finds Chan. Hartwigger open at midfield.
Got an open deep look here. Not going to rush it.
Little. Far side, Clark. Clark to Scuba over the top to Chan, slides, makes the grab. And now Tyler, crossfield himself, and even with McNaughton's speed, he can't get that low that quick.
Chan was throwing kind of with the wind there, so instead of hanging it up, the wind kind of pushed it down a little bit. But that's the thing, is when you choose to throw crossfield like that, you have to be able to execute.
Let's see if Philadelphia tries to use the clock in their favor. We're at 2 minutes left to go in the game, and they've got the 2-goal lead.
They're pretty well in control of this if they can just maintain. All you need is possession.
Score here, it might be it. Jack Casey creates some space for himself away from McNaughton. Might be a little gassed after trying to run down that last one.
Got an open deep look again.
McCutcheon holding here. Drops back for Patel. This one was tipped and Little. Oh, big time collision.
Yeah, I think that's a cardable, bandable offense right there. You got to be ready. You have to be able to see that that's coming. I hope that both players here are okay.
Take a look again. You see Little gets a hand on it and then follows it himself. And here comes Casey. Trying to lay out for it. I don't think he would have had a chance at it anyway. And he went right into the chest of Matt Little.
It's a late enough play, and you should see that Little's most likely going to have that disc in his hands. It happens really quickly, so you can't assign any sort of too much blame. But, yeah, you need to get a ban for that to encourage you and other players not to do that again.
And he did. Good to see Matt Little walk off under his own power. Seems to be okay. Alex Cooper comes in. Leon Chow will come in for Philadelphia. This is a must-score break here for Boston. Or not even a break, but just must-score with clock ticking. Thompson is headed towards the end zone. This one might have been tipped. It's a blade, and it's taken away by Philadelphia.
And they're off to the races here immediately on offense.
That very well might have done it, as we're getting close to the 1 minute mark. Unless Boston can potentially get a Callahan here.
Yeah, Boston's slowing down on defense here. Philadelphia can pick up the pace a little bit. That's the end of it. Whoa! An impressive kick block. They need to get this score quickly.
And they can't.
Not even on the same page for a quick 1 yard goal there.
Tried to rush it in. Catch Philadelphia off guard. They only caught themselves off guard. Under
well
a minute.
put.
And timeout, Philadelphia. They'll get their substitutions in there, which should give them the fresh legs. It'll also help Boston get the fresh legs. We'll step away here. Final timeout for Philadelphia here in the fourth quarter. Here's a look inside the Philadelphia huddle. Should feel good with the disc. Out of a timeout, 43 seconds. Should feel pretty good about their chances.
2 minute lead. If you mess it up at this point, it's pretty much on you, you know?
That's to say the old saying, good teams find ways to win and bad teams find ways to lose. And if you were to give this up now, you could be classified as a bad team. But Philadelphia in good position here and would take sole possession of first place early on in the 2016 season. And we talked about this last night, Dusty. Boston started out 0-2 with virtually this same road trip last year and ended up on the season 7-3. So there's a lot of time here in the marathon of a season.
And the way that both these teams have played today, it's they've played a high level game today, more than what we saw yesterday in either of their games. And it's been a pleasure to see that from both sides. But Boston has to be leaving this game thinking they could have won this, that it could have happened.
Yeah.
And while that can buoy you a little bit and make you positive about what's going forward, it's also a situation where you don't get to go back in time and try again. Whereas Philadelphia should leave this game saying, yeah, we can play with anybody and we're ahead. We're the leaders of the clubhouse.
Boston had to hurry up onto the field. Philadelphia was ready to go, and they had to rush to get on. That one's tipped nicely. Hooker. So he can give Boston a chance here with 30 seconds. He's got to put it in quick. And he does.
Far from the first time we've seen him get a block like that at an important key moment. He was playing that way for San Francisco last year and had some reset blocks. And this puts Boston in a situation where it's still a game, but it's getting so tight here. That space right there, that your flick release on throwing a reset gives the defender just enough time to get out there. And then knowing what they were going to do immediately when they found themselves on the doorstep, that's an improvement over the point before this.
Boston still with one timeout left, 26 seconds on the clock, 26.7. We should be as accurate as possible here and when it's come down to this type of situation, and I think they just used it. So that'll be interesting. They're going to get the midfield pull. when we come back right after this.
That was an incredible game to watch.
It was a huge loss.
I just decided to launch and try to get it.
I knew if I went up early enough, I could get it.
And all of a sudden, there are feet kind of above heads.
Does it all come back to this loss? Does it all come back to this play?
If I had four hands, I would put all four hands on the ball.
It was up the other line. They had to deliver.
Boston kept doing this thing that you didn't think was possible.
Welcome back to Carey Stadium. Final 26.7 seconds left to go, and Boston will need every single one of them. They're going to get the midfield pull. You got to think that potentially they had to use it here, their final timeout, because if they take the full field pull and can't get down there quick enough. Now, we have not seen the Whitecaps, which we saw them do last year, try that trick play where they would just drop the disc on the goal line and catch the other team sleeping.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was necessary last night. You needed to get all of the distance you could, and today they haven't had such a deficit where time plays as much of an issue. With the 26 seconds here in the midfield pull, we should see Philadelphia need to play actual rational offense for a full point under pressure from Boston. 26 seconds, that's about 4 or 5 possessions. If Philadelphia can have 4 or 5 possessions of 5 seconds or so, they'll be all right. They'll get through this without giving anything up, but they'll be under intense pressure from Boston.
At the same time, you don't want to hold on to the disc and risk getting stalled out.
Precisely. I would be surprised if Boston did anything other than come down in a hard, aggressive man defense and saying, don't leave your guy for more than a couple steps.
They got a bit of a hybrid line out there. You see McNaughton out there with Chan, as well as the rest of the defense of Katz, Baker, Hooker, and Doherty. Randolph, Sickles, Hiernett, Meta, Radams, Pana. Pull. Pana does a nice job stopping it. Chow's out there. Chow immediately throws up Radams. Radams trying to get rid of it. 20 seconds left. Radams still holding. Hiernett tumbles down to the ground, makes the catch. Pana's got it. Pana unloads, and even with the distance here, this could do it. And it's caught, and Philadelphia's ahead of the pack. Radams, I don't even know if he had to throw it, doesn't matter, and that'll do it. Sickles will score the 18th goal of the game. It leaves 3 seconds on the clock, and Philadelphia is going to improve to 2-0 on the early season and take sole possession of first place.
Excellent control of the entire possession there. I'm not sure about this put from Pana, but he had the trust in his teammates that he was going to put it up there. And then they verified it by getting this quick break again. We talked about this for both teams. The importance of scoring when you complete a huck outside of the end zone, doing that quickly and easily, that's been key in the development of this game.
So 18-16.
And there's essentially our player of the game.
Yeah, he's got to be, right?
He's got 4 goals, a couple assists, 3 goals, a couple assists. In either case, he's been on the receiving end, literally, of every single big play thus far in this game. He's also tossed a couple important passes, played a significant role downfield on defense, and we've got a 3-second possession here for Boston, which should amount to pretty much nothing.
Let's see if they even throw it.
Well, and what they should be doing here is waiting and then picking it up and just chucking it down the other end.
But he gave it. He's going to give it to Philadelphia.
They realize there's no 2-pointer.
Yeah.
So, sitting there and accepting that the game is over, not needing to push it at the end, that's probably the right way to play it.
The final score, 18-16. Boston falls. Spinners win. They improve to 2-0. We'll step away and start to wrap things up when we come back. Welcome back final score here at Carey Stadium, 18-16. The Philadelphia Spinners, an impressive win here, Dusty, over the Whitecaps.
Made an opening statement on the opening weekend, going 2-0, one road win, one home win. They beat New York up there, and they beat Boston down here. The only team they haven't faced is D.C. I look forward to seeing that matchup, but at this point, Philadelphia looks competent, confident, and controlled.
We'll take a look at some highlights here of Philadelphia. Here's our guy from halftime, Greg Martin. Boston highlight. Boston played well. It's just that time, unlike last night when they dug themselves into the hole, they couldn't get back out of it. Never could take the lead.
The always popular backflip there after the score.
There you're off.
This was one of those quick possessions for Boston where they had turnovers right away at the beginning of a couple of possessions. We get the D from Brandolph here.
Big rundown. They took that one away from Chan. Not an easy thing to do. Hartwigger with a low dig out. This was a play that Cooper got, nearly was taken out by Esser. A big foot block by Cooper.
Really liked that foot block by Cooper.
And I mean, it came at a tough time, but what a play by Andrew Hooker right there to lay out and get that D and then immediately rush back in and toss the goal.
There's still no quit in this team. They only lost by 2. And so many things that seemed either chance or whatever, just like this play, seemed to go against them the whole way, but Boston hung in.
Definitely the play of the game right there. Himalaya made of course he was to the pole there. I didn't even notice that before, but sacrificing the body. And hopefully we're going to hope to get a chance to talk to Himalaya. He's down at the sidelines.
Himalaya, can you hear us? Can you hear us yet down there? He's being given flowers. He's too busy with that to get into the interview.
I can hear you now.
All right, excellent. So how do you feel after this win?
Feel pretty good. Have amazing teammates to share this with, so that's incredible. Just glad I could contribute out there.
Well, to be fair, you did a little more contribute. Based on our scorebook here, you've got 5 goals and 1 assist and a block.
Thank you.
How did that feel to come out? Did you have any sense that you were going to have such a big game today?
No, I've got great teammates around me. I just put my head down, worked in the offseason, and they pushed me to be better, and I think they made me play better today.
Well, we got to ask you one thing. How could you walk us through that catch in the back of the end zone where you slid into the net after it bounced off of a handful of people? What did that look like from your side?
From my side, I thought I was pretty far wide. I saw the disc go up. I just knew I couldn't stop running. I tell my Temple team all the time, you got to want the disc. And, I got to do what I say, too. So I just kept hustling, and I was in the right spot to make that play.
You stuck with it. We were very impressed up here. We were almost shouting into the microphones, as we're always told not to do.
Thanks.
So who gave you the flowers?
Kat. She was on my Winter League team. We're good friends. I don't know if she's back there, but
excellent. You've not only won the game, you've got flowers. Everything is coming up you this weekend.
Yeah.
Congratulations on starting the season 2-0.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
You too.
So we'll be right back here in a little bit, and we'll be back here to wrap it up.
The team dynamic is just to have as much fun as possible.
It's an experience, man. You turn around and you look and there's this big giant animal running towards you.
When I first started commentating, it was kind of tough for me because it's like, well, I can be out there too. I can play with these guys. Why am I up here in the booth?
Jeff Grant he's a freaking monster. He can sort of just do it all, you know?
A few of my students were like, we saw you on the bus. I was like, I don't ride the bus. No, you're on the side of the bus.
Welcome back for the final time here at Carey Stadium on Germantown Academy campus. Jeff Poster and Dusty Rhodes. Dusty, an impressive win for the Spinners. Whitecaps gave them a tough fight, but Philadelphia holds on here in their home opener.
Yeah, this is of the games that we've seen this weekend. This was the cleanest played so far. It had the highest level of execution on some points, and it also had those moments of luck and moments that you're unable to anticipate that led to some of the most exciting plays on the day. A couple tip passes for goals and completions and things like that. It's the recipe for a good day.
Emil Almeida, the player of the game, you just saw before our last commercial there. 5 goals and an assist on the afternoon. Philadelphia improves to 2-0. Boston 1-1. The Whitecaps will travel down to New York next weekend. Spinners will travel down to D.C. And between the Spinners, the Whitecaps, and the Current, we're going to have another fun race, I think, here in the East in 2016. That's going to do it here for us at MLU Live. On behalf of Dusty Rhodes and everybody here at the MLU, I'm Jeff Poster, and we'll see you next week.